Hi everybody, welcome to my first ever YouTube live. Hopefully we've fathomed out how to do it on here. We've never done one before. I apologise, the dog is with us tonight, so I don't know if you can see him or not on camera, but you'll probably be able to hear him licking and just generally being noisy. Yeah, usually we do these on Facebook, so we thought we'd give it a try on YouTube. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. I have tried to put the laptop here so I can read what you guys are saying. Hi to everybody. Hi Byron. I know you always comment first on, or almost first on almost all the videos. It's nice to speak to you all. Out of interest actually. Hi everybody. Oh, hang on. I left the volume on my laptop, sorry guys. Yeah, out of interest, how many of you guys follow me mainly on Facebook and have come to YouTube from the Facebook page, and how many of you guys actually just watch on YouTube and don't follow me on Facebook? I'd be interested to know, because I wasn't sure if it would be all of you guys that are usually on my Facebook page anyway that would be watching tonight, or if we'd have other people joining as well that haven't seen me live before. I know those of you guys on Facebook will have probably watched me do these Q&As quite a bit on the Facebook page. Also, I look like I'm very low down. I am. Normally I'm stood up when I'm at the kitchen worktop, and now that I've been and got a seat, I didn't realise just how low down I am. Also, I can't get my feet under the table, so I'm sat pretty awkwardly down here, guys, so apologies. Now, apologies from me if I keep looking over there. I did ask a few of you guys, or across the different social media channels, I actually asked you guys in advance if you wanted to ask anything. Obviously you can ask away here tonight as well, and I think a few people have already started asking in the comments box, and then I did print off ones that people had sent me in advance, because I know a few people said they weren't able to watch the live. Now I think the live stays on YouTube, is that right? I don't know if you guys watch lots of YouTube lives. So Richard is here with me as well, because I'm not very good at reading things, and I miss everybody's questions and comments, so you'll probably hear him in the background reading things out. But yeah, welcome everybody. I'll try not to bore you too much, but I can't make any promises. So, shall I start with some questions that people asked me in advance?
Yeah, I was going to say just a quick one. A lot of people watch you on both formats, but there are quite a few that are YouTube only, so
oh, fantastic.
That'll be quite nice.
Well, I know that like on Instagram, a few people on there always say, why do we do everything on the Facebook page? Because they're not on Facebook. And I hadn't really realised how many people don't really use Facebook. Sorry, the dog is making disgusting noises. Bruce, can you not do that? Thank you. He's literally just sitting down here next to me. What was I saying? He's going to make me lose track of what I'm on about, isn't he?
How a lot of people were saying that they're not on Facebook.
Yes. And now I don't even know if everyone's on Instagram, because TikTok seems to be the new thing, and I'm not very good with TikTok. We are on TikTok. I'm just not very good with it. To be honest, I'm pretty rubbish with social media all the time, guys. So if ever you message me and I don't message back, it's usually that I haven't seen it. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I do try and message people back, but I don't always see everything. Especially on YouTube, we try and respond to the first few comments, and then I don't always read everything, or sometimes I'll read a not very nice comment, and then it prevents me going further down the comments and reading all the nice comments from you guys. So sorry if I don't reply. Okay, so let's start with some questions that some people asked me in advance. So Tony did say she probably wouldn't be able to watch it because she'd be asleep when we're doing this. So she wanted to know how I made the visor for one of my figures. And I think when she says the visor for one of my figures,
it will be this one.
I think I've only done, one visor ever that I remember.
Tilt your head to that way.
I'm like,
there
this
you
way?
Go. Yeah, and then you point that way.
Screen? This way?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was part of a collaboration actually that I did quite a while ago, and it was Tracer from the computer game. What's the computer game called, Richard? Overwatch. Yeah, so she's made out of modelling chocolate, but the visor is actually made out of gelatin. So I feel like I'm really far away from here. And look at my scruffy head. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so gelatin, and it was just with, it was like the crystallized gelatin, not the sheets. And I just mixed it with the boiled water, and I put in some yellow food colouring. Now, I actually put quite a lot of gelatin in. I didn't measure it out, so I don't have the exact ratio of what I used to water. But it was fairly thick. And I had a piece of acetate, and I poured it on the acetate, so it was fairly thick. And then I bent my acetate over a kitchen roll that I had. So the kitchen roll was on its side, and I bent it over, and I left it like that to set, but I didn't let it fully set. So I had actually made sort of the outer rim of the visor. I don't know if you guys can still see the visor or if Richard's taking it off screen. I didn't see it on my computer, so I don't know if you guys saw it or not.
It's back on the computer now.
Okay. Yeah, so that was made out of modelling chocolate. Am I in the way again? So while my visor had kind of partially set, what I did was the modelling chocolate outer frame, I stuck over the top of the gelatin, and then I scored a line around the edge of it so I knew what size to make it. And so the gelatin was just a kind of jelly stage at this point, but firm enough that it wasn't just tearing, but not so hard that it was sort of snapping. Okay, so it'd probably been sat for a few hours. And then I kind of cut it out properly, and then I let it almost fully set, and then I stuck it with some edible glue into this sort of frame, and then it just set fully while it was in that frame. There we go. It's probably one of those things that's better to see, isn't it? To see me do than me explain. I do have a video on her, but it's not really a how-to video, is it? It's just like a few little snippets of me making her, but I'll have to try remember next time I do want to do a bit more filming on those things for you guys. Right, shall I keep going with my questions on here that you guys have asked in advance, and then we will go through the ones that you guys are sending now as well. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so, who are my biggest inspirations? So Carlton Cakes asked this on Instagram. Now, a lot of my biggest inspirations, I would say, are artists that I follow on Instagram. And what I keep thinking I'm going to do is just share in my Instagram stories, like all those people's pages. There's loads of different people though. So I've done, sometimes they let me do cakes of their little creations, you see, which is always really nice. And I do pronounce everyone's names wrong, so I apologise. So Whitney Pollitt, I might have got her name, I might pronounced her name wrong. Her figurines, well, her drawings are amazing. I think she's a toy designer as well. Her stuff's, amazing. And she has let me do some figures of hers. I don't know if Richard found the pictures. Could you not find the pictures? I could have found the pictures of them for you. I'll have them somewhere. I'll have to see if I can dig them out and find them for you guys. Chris, and this is where I can never pronounce his surname, and he has told me how to say his surname. A lot of you guys would have probably heard of him or recognized like his little characters. He does like really cutesy, I don't even know whether you call them monsters. They're not really monsters, are they? I
put one of the little monsters on the screen as a cake.
Chris Ryanak, is it?
Yeah.
Ryanak?
It's one of those ways.
So he let me do one of his designs in cake as well, but yeah, his stuff's fabulous. I've bought one of his, he's got like little collectible figurines. I've got one of those upstairs that I bought. I think they're fab. But yeah, there's loads of different people. Who else have we got there? Oh, so the other week, or the other month, I did, so on Instagram it's called Mr. Eyes, but I think it's actually Michael Reyes, is it?
Yes.
Yes, did I say his name right? And it was like a critter, a cute / not really scary critter.
Well, he's taken up the entire page now.
Has he? So he actually designs the things in Gideon's Bakehouse in Florida, and I am going there in a few weeks, and I cannot wait, guys. We're off to Florida for holidays. Is it 3 weeks away? Yeah, I can't wait. So I'm going to go have a look at his artwork and also buy the cookies at Gideon's Bakehouse. Yeah, have a look at his work. It's fantastic. But that's where most of my kind of influences come from. And then also, like, you guys see that I do a lot of like fan art of all the cartoons and Disney videos, that kind of thing that I watch. I love things like that.
You like cutesy things, don't you?
I do like cutesy, yeah. You'll notice I don't really do much scary stuff. But inspiration comes from all sorts. Like, I can be looking in a card shop and like the greetings cards and stuff. I just think, they've all got really nice ideas, but there's so much nice artwork out there that inspires me.
This year, Zoe has decided to keep every single Christmas card we got for inspiration.
Well, I thought the next year what I would do was get out my Christmas cards and ask you guys to vote on like what designs I should make cakes around. Some are nicer than others. We'll see. There's a bit later in the year for that. But yeah, what I think I'll do is I'll try and share a lot of the people that I follow that I think are very inspirational. Yeah, definitely. So another question. So Andrea said, will the live be available to watch afterwards? I don't know if that was one I was supposed to reply to at the time, actually, rather than say live in the video. I think it is. Okay, I'm not sure who asked this one, but someone has asked, if you're freezing a cake, how long should I leave it to defrost before covering it and decorating it? And do you cut and trim it up before freezing it, or when you get it out of the freezer before filling and covering? Okay, now I don't know if you guys will have noticed when you watch my YouTube videos a lot, some of the cakes look very hard. It's not usually because they're stale, it's usually that I've had them in the freezer. So quite often I'll think, this is what I'm gonna do like tomorrow, and I'll get my cakes baked, and then tomorrow comes around and I'm like, oh, I haven't got time to film a YouTube video today. So I'll just stick the cakes in the freezer, or sometimes I just bake a load and put them in the freezer and then they're there ready for when I want to make videos. I usually don't even bother letting them defrost. I will usually just get them out and start working on them straight away. It really depends on what you're doing with it. So sometimes in the past I've sort of filled the cakes and put the whole cake in the freezer. So let's say we're just doing like a standard shaped round cake that's just got a few layers inside, but it's all the same sort of width. It's easier for me to put the frosting in before I put it in the freezer. Then I don't have to wrap each layer up separately in cling foam when it goes in the freezer. And then I just take it out and I will ganache it or buttercream around the edge, and then I can put my fondant on. Now the only thing is, if you are going to put fondant on and you're doing it straight away, the condensation is going to start coming through what you're doing, and it's going to make it quite sticky. I don't know if you can hear the aeroplanes going over or not, guys. We do live right under the flight path where we are, so sometimes it can get quite noisy when the planes go over. Sorry, I say a lot as well. Usually in the YouTube videos, the guys that help me edit will cut those words out for you, so you don't have to listen to me say it as much. It's not possible tonight. You're going to have to listen to me say a lot, I think. We should have taken bets on how many times I was going to say it at the beginning of the...
You'd be in thousands.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I will sometimes just decorate it frozen, but what you'll often find is, like especially with the face cakes, when I'm carving them, they're defrosting as I'm working on them anyway, but it's nice for them to be that little bit firmer, because some cakes, depending on what type of cake you bake, can be quite crumbly when you're trying to cut into them. So if they're just that little bit firmer from being frozen or partially frozen, it just makes it that bit easier for me to work on it. It's more when you're putting fondant on and it's still frozen and it's very cold, that's when your condensation comes through and it starts getting, a bit sticky. So you could carve it, ganache it, leave it then to fully defrost so there's no condensation on, and then continue working on it and decorating on it. And for how long you should leave it in the freezer, honestly, do you know what? I don't have a definite date, but I was once told that you shouldn't leave them in the freezer for longer than a month. I don't know if that's right or not. Usually mine are only in for a day or two anyway. There's sometimes like a week, just depending on how quickly I get around to filming the videos and using it. But it does make my life easier putting them in the freezer. Yeah.
Right, shall I ask some questions from the comments?
Yes, you ask some questions from the comments, yes.
There's a few people that must obviously do your online classes.
Yep.
We currently stream those through Facebook. So a couple of questions: will we be streaming online classes elsewhere, and are there any more coming up?
Okay, I have like about 20 classes all planned, and I've written them all out and everything for everything I plan on doing within them. So I wanted to do like a ganaching class, where we ganache a cake and all the basics to do with ganaching, really. A few different bits and pieces, how you make your different ganaches, like your milk chocolate, white chocolate, etc. I feel like I don't want to tell you everything that I plan on bringing out, because I know it always takes me a long time to get them out. My plan originally was to do one new class a month online, and then the rest of the work just always gets in the way. And if anybody is wondering what on earth else I do other than filming the videos, so we do have an online shop. So we sell all the products. I'm completely getting sidetracked from the question, aren't I?
Yes.
But yeah, we do sell all the products and things that I use, and quite often I'll spend a lot of time over the little warehouse picking and packing your orders, and it sometimes takes up most of my day when I plan on filming, and then I don't get time to film. So I apologise.
And we have just moved premises as well.
We've moved from a small shop to sort of a bigger venue now, as we were getting a bit busier. So yeah, but that keeps me quite busy sometimes, so I don't always get to do as many classes and Facebook lives, YouTube videos as what I originally plan on doing. Honestly, I've got a book of ideas that's so big, and yeah.
Ooh, it's funny you should talk about book of ideas.
I don't think I finished asking that question though.
Sorry.
Remind me of the question again. I get so easily sidetracked.
Planned new tutorials, and we'll be bringing them onto another platform. To the
So
moment.
the platform thing. So you're probably better answering that, Richard, because I'm the least technical person ever. I'm pretty rubbish on social media. I do everything wrong. I usually delete posts and things by accident. And the guys here just generally help me with all that stuff. what was the other site we were going to use?
We are looking to, all the online classes we do, we are looking at re-platforming them to make them available via our website through another video stream system. So whoever's bought our classes through Facebook will still have access to them via the website, but it'll also give people another way of getting to our online classes that don't use Facebook. It's just, we've got a lot of video files and they're quite weighty in size. So it's just taking quite a bit of time to get that sorted out.
So yes, we do plan on. We do actually have some on a site called Udemy. I don't know how many of you guys have got any of our classes on there. It was a site that we started putting them on like way before we were doing the classes on Facebook, but I don't have many classes on there. In fact, I've got 3, a rose making class, a face making class, but it's the older version of the face making class, not the newer one that I've got on Facebook, and then a hairstyles tutorial. I'll put links in the comments, guys, so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I need to sort it out and get them all in one place. Sorry, Richard, I interrupted you when you were talking about something to do with the book.
Yeah, well, we were talking about book of ideas. Obviously, that stumbles us into the book.
Have people asked questions on the book?
Yeah, there might be a few about the book. This has been on the pipeline for how
So this has been on my to-do list for the last 5 years. And every year I said, this year I'm going to finish the book. I actually, so the book I'm making is on figure making. So it's not actually cakes in this one. It's just the toppers, like little figurines. And the book is looking at sort of making faces. I don't really use the molds in the faces. I know quite a few of the videos I've used my new molds, but in the book, we don't really use the molds. But of course you can if you want. And then we're looking at like how you change the faces to make them more masculine, more feminine, older, younger, and then different expressions. And then we go through like a series of different projects. And they become more complicated with each project as well. So we start with like a basic style figure and babies, toddlers, teenagers. Then we get on to like adults and then older people. Yeah. So it's mainly looking at people.
And shall I bring on one of your designs for the book, Zoe?
Yeah, you can do. So I tried to sketch some out. This was my nicest sketch that I had. I don't know if Richard's got it up or not.
I can't find it. I'll find it in a second.
Did you lose my sketch?
I haven't lost your sketch. That's not great, is it, Richard?
So all the figurines are actually made and they're all photographed and everything is written up. We just sent all the photos to kind of be brightened and edited so they're just easier to see, because a lot of it, especially when it's lighter coloured things, I did it on a white, I think it was a white background, wasn't it? So it's not always very clear, the outline of what I'm making against the background. So yeah, it's gonna go a bit edited so you can see that a little bit better, I think. And then somebody will lay it out nicely for me, because again, it's too technical for me. I'm not very good with laying out pictures.
Right,
Did you find the picture?
Yes. This is one of the tutorials, isn't it?
Yes, I can't see it, but yes.
It will there in a second.
Yeah. Is it the roller skating girl?
Yeah, it's the roller skating girl,
yeah. She doesn't look exactly the same as that, because that was one of my original sort of drawings, and what I make doesn't always end up like what I draw. But yeah, hopefully at some point this year we'll get that done. But I know I've said that to you guys every year for a while.
Right, okay. Should we go on to a few more questions? This is one that I've seen quite a lot. Byron says, only this has just jumped to me, so no preference here. Zoe, I hope you remember the Aurora doll cake. That has been asked
Yes,
for
I do. You know what? It's on my to-do list. It's actually quite near the top of my to-do list. And then sometimes the video editors throw in one that I have to do first, and then it always ends up getting pushed back. But I've not forgotten about that one. I will definitely do that one. I need more staff, don't I, really, at the shop, so that I can spend more time on videos. Basically, I would sit and do them on my own, but as mentioned, I'm pretty rubbish with technology. And when I have been left to film them on my own, I forget to press the on button, or I think I've pressed on and it turns out that I've recorded myself doing nothing and switched the camera off when I was actually meant to be filming. So I'm just jumping in now. If you are watching us live now, if you want to click the thumbs up, that'll be ace, because I understand that that's good for us. Oh, is it?
On the
See, I'm not technical. I don't know any of this stuff.
We've not done a YouTube live before, so
who's watching that does YouTube lives?
I don't know.
A thumbs up good?
Well, I think it's better than a dislike.
Well, yeah, that is very true.
So yeah, if you want to give us a thumbs up, that would be appreciated.
I can see somebody. Look, I've read something on my own. That's a bit sad, isn't it? I can read, guys. I'm just really rubbish at seeing things in the comments. Will you sell the book in an online version for people who live far away and pay extensive shipping fees? So I think we will eventually. I think at first I might not make it online, only because I'm aware that sometimes when it goes online, it's so much easier for people to not buy it and copy it. And basically my brother's on this site where people share books with each other. So one person buys the book and everyone else that's a member of this group then gets the book for free. And I thought that was a bit like bad on the person that's writing the books. And stuff like that is what kind of puts me off wanting to do an online book. But then I think I would have to really do an online book because, like you say, books are heavy. And if you see the size of what I've written so far, you know, it's like going to be like the fattest book ever, really heavy. So it would be, yeah, really expensive to ship. So I think at some point we probably will have to get it as an online version. Yeah.
That's good. Right, have you got any more questions on yours? Because I'll let you take a few more from there.
Oh, this is one where I can ramble on for a while. How you first began your career and what's your advice to a new one in this career? Okay, so I started mine probably the same way that most cake decorators get into it. I started as a bit of a hobby. The first cake I made was for Richard's mom. She had made a fruit cake, so I didn't even bake the cake. And it was for the church choir master, wasn't it? And she said, could I just make a little figure of the church choir master? Which I did. It wasn't even all edible. I
should have found a picture of this, shouldn't I?
Do you know what? There's one on my laptop as well, somewhere on the desktop. I should have found it for you. It's a funny little thing. He's like a really short little dumpy guy with a bald head. By figure, I mean, rather than the actual guy I was making. But the church organ, I couldn't work how you did gold like organ pipes, so I just rolled up cardboard and sprayed it with gold spray paint. That I don't think was edible at all at the time. But you don't know these things, do you, when you're starting out? Anyway, she really liked it and she asked if I'd do another one for Richard's sister, which I did. I think, was that a record? Was it a cake of a record?
Yeah, right, I'm just going to steal, actually. I found the choir master, yeah.
Found it. But yeah, anyway, so I started doing it as a hobby and I just really enjoyed it. And I was just doing it for presents for people because I enjoyed doing it. And obviously there's only so much cake you can eat yourself. So I do them and I give them away for presents. And then where I worked, people that worked with me started saying, well, can you decorate a cake for me? And quite often they were bringing me a cake and I was simply taking it home, decorating it and bringing it back. And then when people started asking that I didn't know, I was having to bake the cakes. I'll be honest, guys, baking is not something that I really enjoy a lot. I used to before actually doing it more in the job. And then when I was doing it in the job, I got a little bit bored of baking. But my passion is more the decorating side of it, which is why you don't really see me putting recipes and stuff online. It's not the bit that I really enjoy. But I know that I have also said to people, I'll try and get more recipes online. But it just went from there, really. So more and more people that I knew or didn't know even started asking me for cakes. And I thought, well, if I'm going to ask them for money, I have to register properly because it depends where you live or what country you're in for what you have to do. But over here, you have to register with the council and you have to get like a star rating, like a hygiene rating to be able to make food and sell it. So I applied for that, which is like just a free thing that you do and they come around and they inspect your home and you have to sort of keep a diary and all that kind of thing. And I got my 5-star rating, which I was pretty happy about. And yeah, so I just started doing it evenings and weekends really. And the more I did that, the more I disliked my job. So I just sat and worked in an office. It wasn't anything exciting that I used to do for a job. Yeah, so it just went from there. And it got to the point where I didn't want to work in my daytime job. But it was actually quite good timing. So they were doing a big restructure at work. And they were going to make a lot of redundancies. So you could apply for redundancy. So I actually applied for redundancy. And I thought, if I get it, I'll really make a go of doing the cakes and do that full time. If not, I'll maybe just look at another job that I find sort of a bit more interesting than my office job. But I did get redundancy. So I had a little bit of money from redundancy as well to sort of really start the business up with or just be there in case I wasn't making much money on the cake. So that's really how it started. Richard's telling me I'm boring you all, so sorry guys. Yeah, he's falling asleep at the other end of the camera, sorry. But that's how it all started. And so I would say I didn't just make a decision instantly that I was going to make cakes and drop everything inside. I just kind of got into it gradually. But at that point, I had plenty of orders, so I knew that I could keep busy with it as a job. So yeah, that's how I got into it. Advice for people starting, I would say, again, a bit like me, make sure you've got the orders. Don't just decide out of the blue, like if you've never made a cake before, that's what you're going to do and that you're going to just sort of stop everything and start Okay, you just need to make sure that you're going to make enough money to pay your bills with it, that you're going to have enough orders coming in. And my advice would be, like, obviously it's hard work. Just be ready for hard work and a lot of long hours. But that's like any new business when you're starting up on your own at first. You know, be prepared to put in the work. And it can be stressful. Just be aware that when you are doing it for job, it's not quite as enjoyable as when it's not a job. And be ready for some awkward customers, because you can get awkward customers. You can get really nice customers. Predominantly, they were really nice, and I love all my customers. But the odd one, you know, could be a little bit harder work than others. But just be prepared for that. Don't let things upset you if people don't like what you've done, or don't be afraid to say no as well. Because my main problem was that people wanted it cheaper. And I'd be like, oh, well, I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to say no, so I'll just do it cheaper. And that's when you find that it's not really a business, because you're not earning any money from it. So don't be afraid to say no to people. But keep practicing as well. Practice, practice, practice. And I know Richard's going to make me shut up about this one now. Move on to the next question.
And then Sue says, and just like that, you're famous.
Do you know what? It's funny, but I'm not famous. But there was a time where more people knew who we were because of YouTube, and it is thanks to the YouTube channel, actually, because I should have tied my hair back, it's really in the way today. YouTube really was like the main, I don't know, how would you say, not starting point for me, but
it changed the business.
I actually started on YouTube before it became a job, and the reason was I'd kind of opened a social media page for my business. And I don't even think I called it Zoe's Fancy Cakes at all, did I? I called it Cakes for All Occasions, but it turns out there's hundreds of companies called Cakes for All Occasions. And there was a lady that I worked with that said, you should call it Zoe's Fancy Cakes because your cakes are fancy. And that's how it came about. But so the reason for the YouTube channel starting was I'd started posting pictures of what I was doing on Facebook, it was. And people kept saying, can you tell me how to do that? So I was trying to, write an explanation, because I don't like to say, well, no, I don't want to tell you what I've done. So I'll be writing out explanations, and it's difficult to explain in words or in text. And my brother was at university at the time, he will know what he was doing, I've forgotten, something to do with
animation,
something like that, I don't know, but he had like a little bit of background knowledge about editing videos and all that kind of thing, and I didn't. And he suggested that why didn't I film what I was doing, and then that way, instead of me having to write to everybody that was asking and tell them, that I could just say, well, I've got video on that if you want to see. So the whole point of it was really just, well, to help people, but also to help me, because I wasn't having to write it out to everybody every single time. And that's like how the YouTube came about. And the YouTube, it got to be really popular, didn't it, at a point? And so I'm really grateful to everybody that watches on YouTube, because, well, before coronavirus, I used to travel all over the world teaching cake decorating. So not just doing the videos, but teaching. Especially Australia. I used to go to Australia once a year. Hopefully I'll be able to start going back there again soon. And that was all because of the YouTube. A lady had come across one of my videos on YouTube, and she'd messaged and said, oh, I've seen your videos, I like your work, do you teach, and could you come teach in Australia? So it opened a lot of doors for me, did these videos on YouTube. I've completely got sidetracked with what on earth the question was, though.
Well, we're talking about how you got into business, but obviously how, then talking about somebody joking, they said, oh, and then you became famous. But obviously,
yeah, but now we're not as good on YouTube anymore as we used to be. I think the problem is you have to have time to sort of do it regularly, and there was quite a period of time where I wasn't getting a chance to do YouTube videos. I mean, that's the good thing with me not traveling all over at the moment teaching, is that I have got more time here to work on videos. When I'm traveling away a lot, it is really difficult to make videos when I'm not sort of in my own space with all my own equipment and things. And especially during lockdown, my kind of kitchen space got taken up as a picking and packing area for posting out everybody's parcels. So I didn't have much space to work in, which kind of limited what I could film and what I could do as well. But yeah, I need to work more now on the YouTube channel. I need to start doing things that are a bit more on trend, because I realise I do a lot of what I want rather than maybe what other people want to see. Yeah, you guys just let me know what kind of things you want to see on YouTube. Whether you want me in the videos more or less. I know some people like to see me talking in them. Some people don't want anything to do with my face, just want to see what I'm doing, and that's it. But yeah, let me all know what your preference is. And I will get on with Aurora at some point as well. Do you want me to go for a question off the pre-asked ones, or have you got some more there in the comments, Richard?
Hey, there's a couple, there's a few that I can see about pricing for cakes.
Oh, this is an awful question. Sorry to whoever asked it. It's a question
There's
that
a
comes
few
up a
people
lot.
that
Yeah,
asked.
I was going to say it comes up a lot and it comes up all over. Now, it's hard to say because sometimes people think, well, actually, if you just give me a price, that's easier. Do you know what I mean? People say, here's what should I have charged for this cake? And it's really difficult to give you a price because it's different in every country, and not only that, it's different in every area. So where I live, I would say I couldn't charge as much as somebody down in London because people generally pay more down there than what they do up here. And again, it depends what you become known for. So if you're somebody that is known for like smaller, cheaper cakes, you'll find it's then harder to charge a lot more money. Whereas some people kind of build a name for themselves where, you know, they do exclusive, really fancy, elaborate or classical wedding cakes, and they put a really high price on them, but they've got known for that, and it's then easier for them to charge more because it's what's expected from their work, if that makes sense. When I first started, I tried to have a look at what other people in the area were charging. And what you should know is I don't actually sell cakes anymore, which it does make it a little bit harder for me in that I no longer know what a going rate is for a cake. So I'd probably be one of those people that would order a cake from somebody and go, what? I'm not paying that. That's what I did actually first time I ever ordered a cake from someone. I was like, I could make it myself. And then when I made it myself, I realized that there's so much work goes into it. But yeah, I don't make them for people anymore. I just usually give away or eat the ones that I make here. But when I did used to do it, I didn't used to work it out on an hourly rate. So I know a lot of people will work it out on an hourly rate. So depending on who you ask, depends on what they would tell you about pricing. The hardest thing for me was being confident in a price and saying to people, if you don't want that, it's fine. You know, you don't have to have it. And not getting upset that they're like, well, that's expensive, you're a rip-off. You must be earning a fortune. But it's not, in my opinion, an industry where many cake decorators earn a lot. It's not. It's something that you do because you enjoy. But as a business, you do also need to make a profit. And I'm sure there are some cake decorators that make a lot of money. I personally don't know any that do, but this is where Richard always gets very disappointed. But it depends on your business model as well, guys. Like some people will do a lot of cakes, but they're cheaper, so they're going on volume. Whereas some people will say, I'm only going to make one wedding cake a week, but I'm going to charge an awful lot for that wedding cake, but I'm going to spend my whole week on that cake. And what we used to do is we used to have a spreadsheet and we'd work out. So I had all different sizes of cakes, so like 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, and it'd be round, square, and then different heights of cakes. And I would have a price written down for how much it was for that size cake to be decorated basic. And then if people would say, right, well, I want 3 tiers, and it'd have like a 6-inch one, an 8-inch, and a 10-inch, I'd look at my little chart and see how much it was for basic, and then they'd say, well, I want a bride and groom on the top, and I want some roses. So then I could work out how much I wanted to charge for a bride and groom, and add that to the cost of all the tiers, and then like the flowers, and add that to the cost. I realise it's difficult because I'm not giving you any amounts of money, but also my pricing list would now be completely out of date because it's quite a few years since I last sold a cake to anybody. I'm not sure that was really helpful for you guys or not, but I didn't used to work it out on an hourly rate. Some people do. The reason I didn't do it on an hourly rate was I never knew how long a cake was going to take. Unless I was doing the same design time and time again, I didn't know how long it was going to take. And obviously, the more you do something, the quicker you're going to get. So if you charge an hourly rate, when you first start, the same cake would cost more than when you've been doing it a few years because you would be quicker at it. Does that make sense? But actually, you would expect to pay more for a cake where you're more experienced doing it than when you weren't experienced. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So you do want to make sure you're earning enough that you're paying yourself some money. But I didn't used to work it out on an hourly wage. Some cakes I didn't make much money on, some I made a lot more on. Hopefully that's okay for you guys.
Yeah.
That would be like a full session on its own, really, wouldn't it? Teaching people about pricing.
Pricing's a massive topic, and there's loads of other bits that go into it.
The best thing is having somebody else to do it for you, So I would, in wedding consultations, I would obviously work them out myself. But when people used to send through online queries asking, and I'd be like, oh, I'm worried about telling them it's this amount. I'm worried they're going to say, oh, what rip-off. Richard used to just send the price, because then he would get the response, and then I wouldn't worry about if they were upset with the price or not. Basically.
The ironic thing is, though, when we did bump prices, you tended to find we were a lot busier. So it sounds really daft.
Yeah, so when I used to do bride and grooms, or wedding couples, I should say, I used to charge, did I charge £20 or something for my first one? For my first wedding couple, I'm sure I charged about £20. And it cost me over £10 for the modelling paste and things that I'd made it with. And it was like 2 days of work for me at first, 2 full days of work. Well, you know, so that was like £10 that I'd earned in like 2 days. And they're not even 9 to 5 days, you know, they were long days, but I hadn't really done it much. And, you know, I needed the practice. I wasn't overly good at it back then. So it was taking me a long time, but I couldn't have charged a lot of money for that, because it was only my lack of experience that meant I was so slow with it. And you do have to compare yourself to other people as well, because if you're charging a lot more money than somebody that is doing something that is better quality, and you have to be a little bit honest with yourself with it, you know, are you better than the person that you're comparing yourself to, or is yours not quite as good as the person you're comparing yourself to? Because you wouldn't expect to pay more for one that doesn't look quite as good as the one that does look really good. But also taste matters as well, guys. You do have to have a nice cake in the middle too.
That is very true, Zoe. It's what offcuts are for. Testing.
Yeah, don't give your customers the offcuts to test though. See, it's all about presentation as well. So if you can offer nice looking samples, especially to like wedding couples, it always looks nicer than, you know, if you've just got some scruffy offcuts, for example, like Richard just said. Presentation of everything is a really big thing. If you've got a nice fancy website, people are going to presume that your cakes are a little bit higher priced, I would say, than somebody that looks like they've got a website that doesn't really work very well. You've not updated your photos.
Bit like ours, you mean?
Yeah, like ours. We're rubbish at updating our website.
Right, shall we run back to some questions? Right, Beat Better Bake asks, does modelling chocolate behave like fondant? And do you need to work in a cold environment with modelling chocolate?
No, so I don't actually use a huge amount of modelling chocolate. I use it every now and again. So you can mix it with fondant. So you can do half and half. I know a lot of people that do big sculpted cakes will often mix half modelling chocolate. I do have some modelling chocolate here, actually. This is a new one that I've not even tried yet. Usually I would use the Saracino one. But we just got this one in the shop and I've not even tried it. No, so again, every brand will be slightly different. And if you're like me and you have cold hands, you might find, yes, Rocker, that it's a bit harder to work with than fondant. So it usually feels much harder to start with. I often will have to microwave it for a few seconds to just get it warm enough. So you can see I can't even stick my finger in that. It's too hard for me. I would have to put that in the microwave and then start working with it. I personally use it for bigger sculpted things. You can use it for toppers that are really big. It clings quite well to sort of structure. So if you've got an internal structure, it'll cling well to it. But for covering a cake, you can just do it in modelling chocolate, but temperature-wise, if it's very cold, it's going to start setting when you're working on it, and it's going to crack as you're sort of bending it around things. So you need to keep it a little bit warm, but at the same time, you don't want to leave it anywhere really warm because it's just going to stay soft, or even worse, if you put it outside, say you've put it on a wedding cake and it's out in a garden and it's really hot, we don't have to worry about that too much over here, do we, in England? It's not often that hot. Like 2 weeks a year when everything's too hot to make any cakes or do anything. But yeah, it would then melt. The best thing if you want to cover your cakes with it is doing half and half, so mixing half with your fondant. And again, fondant, guys, if you're in America, is just your fondant. Over here, fondant's actually something different, but when I say fondant, I do mean the American fondant. So like ready to roll sugar paste is the fondant. I would say half and half, but it really depends. It will stop your fondant drying out as quick, but then it will also make it firm more once it has gone to a cooler temperature, but it'll help you blend it together more if you do want to mix it with that. And some people just mix it in because it tastes nicer. But in my opinion, modelling chocolate tastes nicer than fondant, but personal preference, that isn't it, I suppose. Okay, did I answer that? Hopefully I answered that. Just having a look. Richard, can you read any?
Yep.
I lose track of them, sorry, so.
I am just scared.
Rachel liked the tutorial for the standing hay Dougie with a homemade structure. Oh, thank you. Would like to see a tutorial on the structure, tools, methods. We could maybe do that. Usually Richard does the structure because I can't be trusted with a drill. Last time I used a drill, I was putting up a bookcase and I managed to drill like this long line all the way across the wall. Yeah. Not good with technology or power tools.
I'll say Zoe starts something and gets bored after literally 5 minutes and moves on to something else.
Yeah, I've started so many YouTube videos, guys, that I have never finished. I've got like right next to me here, you guys can't see it, I've got loads of half finished models and things.
Like all over the warehouse, all over your mum's house.
Yeah, I have. Right, okay.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Caroline, what advice please for decorating a cake with buttercream in the summer months? She's worried about it melting. Should ganache be used?
Both will melt in the summer months, but ganache will hold up better than buttercream. Now, again, I'm not a big buttercream expert. I have made, especially like the semi-naked buttercream cakes, because they used to get asked for a lot, didn't they, when we used to do them for weddings. They used to be my biggest nightmare were naked cakes or semi-naked cakes,
because everybody thinks they're cheaper.
Yeah, people expect to pay less because there's less decorating going on, but the stress from them, they're harder to stack, they're not very sturdy, they're not very stable. The naked cakes just go dry when they've been sat there all day because there's nothing keeping them kind of airtight. They're just in the air all day. And then these semi-naked ones with buttercream, like I say, can melt if they're outside in the sun. Now, you use different types of buttercreams. You can obviously keep a buttercream cake in the fridge. I know when I go to other countries to teach, they wouldn't leave a cake out. So over here, we don't really put our cakes in the fridge unless there's something that has to be refrigerated in the cake, like if it had fresh cream or like some kind of mousse or something, then I wouldn't usually put it in the fridge unless it's to set it up a little bit. So if I'm putting layers of ganache on and I want them to set quickly, I would usually put them in the fridge for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, take it out again just so it hardens. But I wouldn't usually leave a cake in the fridge here, but it's not usually warm enough that we would need to. But if you were doing a fully buttercream cake and you are worrying about it melting, it's worth storing it in a fridge until it's needed. Now, I would say the best buttercream for not melting, in my opinion, is the American buttercream, where it's, correct me if I'm wrong here actually, but I think this is the American buttercream. See, this is how bad I am with buttercream. I don't know which is which. So I put butter, icing sugar, and then a bit of vegetable shortening. So over here we use Trex. I don't think Trex is available in all countries, is it? But vegetable shortening anyway.
It's also vegan, vegetable shortening.
It is vegan, yes.
Dairy free, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, because it's made from vegetable oils. Okay, I think next time I'll do it without Richard. You've made me completely lose track of what I was doing.
You're saying you can add Trex to your buttercream and it makes it a little bit more sturdy.
Yeah, so it's basically if you've got a crusting buttercream, then it doesn't melt as much. But you can swap to ganache in summer. I used to make all my original wedding cakes in buttercream, and I can't believe I'm going to talk about this one because it still upsets me to talk about it, but somebody's cake once melted in the car, not in our car. So I used to charge people money if I was delivering, and if they didn't want to pay for delivery, they could come collect the cake themselves, which, you know, not everybody wants to pay for delivery, that's fine. And they had taken the cake and it had been sat on a really hot day in the car for quite a few hours, and I believe it had been maybe sat on the bride's knee as well, which don't travel with a cake on your knee, guys. Put it in the boot or somewhere flat, okay, because it's less likely to rock about than it is on your knee. And anyway, they said it had melted. When they brought it back, it had a huge handprint in the front, and it wasn't even just a buttercream cake, so it was covered in buttercream and then it was covered in fondant, and it was so soft and melted. And then after that, because I was really upset because I did have to refund the money of the cake, I also did redo it late at night and took it to them. But yeah, I got quite an earful from the bride's mum about that, and I was so upset. If I didn't have other cakes actually in my order book at the time, I would have just quit there and then, because I was really upset over this cake because it had never happened before. But yeah, the buttercream had gone really soft and melted. They had all these handprints in and the tiers had kind of fallen apart. So from that point onwards, I switched to chocolate ganache, and it made a massive difference, a really big difference. But then, you know, there's so many people that only work with buttercream and they manage okay with it. So it can be done. You can use it in hot weather. I just personally wouldn't leave it outside in the sun. Like if it's at a venue and you've got it in the window, if the sun's coming through the window, maybe just close the curtains so the sun's not shining quite as bright on it.
That's good. Thank you very much, Zoe.
It's okay.
Sue has a question.
Yes, Sue.
I've always wanted to try the Mary Poppins cake, but don't know how to do a substructure. So Richard should give us a tutorial, LOL.
There we
Well,
go,
that is a good
Richard.
point there.
Yeah,
we should do probably some structure tutorials.
We were actually thinking as well, weren't we, in the shop, whether we start creating kits for you guys so that they're there ready drilled for you. Say, for example, so we sell it as the Mary Poppins kit. Richard's like, no, Zoe, don't make me drill more holes.
Well, no, we can sell them as kits, but probably not.
Well, I can't sell it as a Mary Poppins kit, but no, but a kit that would fit for that particular cake, because it wouldn't have to be Mary Poppins. You know, it could be any lady in a dress holding an umbrella or holding something else up, like a hat or something. Because I know we often have guest teachers at the shop, and we've got Carla Pudge. I don't know how many of you guys on here would have heard of Carla. She does amazing like busts with modelling chocolate and
heads. Just in case you don't know what bust is.
Well, the bust is sort of from here upwards, isn't it? Yeah. I don't mean she makes people's boobs.
Just check.
Okay, so see, he says these things and then I completely lose track of where I am and what I'm on about. But so when she comes, we have to make all the frames ready. So all the little wooden bases and the internal structure, a bit like we did on the Mary Poppins one. And then usually we make a few extra, and after the class, some of the students will say, well, can I buy one that's ready made so I can go have another practice at home? So I'm thinking we should maybe, if you guys are interested, start doing things like that for the shop. Because even like a really basic frame with just a single rod up the middle, there's so much that you can do with just even the single rod running through a wooden board. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, if it's something that you're interested in us putting in the shop.
Here's a question that we've been asked quite a few times. Yes. Obviously, for anybody that doesn't know, we do have like an online shop, and we did used to ship all into Europe.
Oh, yes. Yes, so we were before Brexit. We shipped worldwide, including all the countries in Europe. Since Brexit, it's caused a lot of problems. So we did continue. We filled in all the right paperwork to send things to places in the EU. And almost every parcel we tried to send to people got returned, didn't it? And it just happened that much that in the end we had to stop posting. And so it has been a while since we've sent things to places in the EU. And I know a lot of you guys, especially from like Germany, France, Spain, have been asking a lot for the molds sending that we do. So we do need to sort that out. What is it we need to do to start being able to send them again, Richard?
I need to do a few tweaks. It is going to be in the near future though. It's something that a lot of the problem with the sense is not a problem, but with the EU, a lot of countries, some countries will accept certain items, others will accept certain items. Some items are prohibited in certain countries. And with the website, it's pretty much impossible to limit certain products to certain countries. So the problem we've got is if people order all sorts, some countries we may have to amend their order because you're not allowed those items to go there. To cut a long story short, it'll probably be inedible items that we ship all over to you.
Okay, so when we start shipping to places in Europe, guys, the moulds and stuff that I sell will probably be able to go. It'll be things like the fondant, the icing, the things that are edible that we might not be able to send out to you just because of the different rules in the different countries. And now Edwina has said, in her terms and conditions, if she doesn't deliver and set up the cake, she doesn't take responsibility for any mishaps. Edwina, I have the same T's and C's, or I did. But, yeah, when you have somebody at 12:30 at night on the phone screaming that you have ruined their daughter's wedding when it isn't even the wedding yet, and you're a bit worried that they're going to ruin you by bad-mouthing you across social media, yeah, you quite quickly then decide that you're going to give them the money back to try and keep the peace. Yeah. But yeah, I did used to have T's and C's saying that it was not my responsibility if I didn't take the cakes. If anybody missed about that earlier, that won't make sense. But yeah, earlier we were on about a cake that I made that melted. That is the stress that I don't miss at the moment. Richard often did delivery actually, because I used to get so stressed with delivering a wedding cake in case anything happened that apparently it was just easier to do the delivery without me being there.
It was a lot easier without Zoe there. Amanda W says, I've seen you decorate cookies with fondant, but have you ever tried decorating with royal icing?
It's funny you should say that. I used to always decorate them with royal icing. And if you look at my very first YouTube videos, maybe you shouldn't actually because they're really bad, but I used to do a lot of cookies with royal icing. They were fairly basic. I wouldn't say I did anything fancy with them. I've got like little padlock heart ones where I piped on them, and mainly heart shapes. I seem to remember doing a lot of heart shapes and the royal icing piped things. But then I didn't do it for ages, and do you know what? I hate making royal icing. And we do actually sell it ready-made as well, so I've no excuse, have I, not to do it. And a lot of the cookies that I did more recently, I did in Facebook Lives, and I'm not very good at prepping things in advance, getting things ready, because I'm very disorganized. And when it comes to the cookies and in a Facebook Live, I'm like, do a royal ice? And I'm like, no, it's just quick to grab some fondant. I'll just grab fondant and do them with fondant. So that's the reason I often do them in fondant. It's just because for me, it saves me time and it stops me having to make the royal icing. But I do need to make the effort of just making royal icing and doing them properly. Because we bought so many different shapes of cookie cutters for the shop because I really wanted to have a go with loads of them and doing all these fancy things. Especially because I've planned so many different gingerbread houses as well that I want to make, that really I want to use royal icing for. So I just need to pull my finger out. Or I just need a volunteer that wants to sit and make royal icing for me so that I don't have to do it. You can tell, can't you, what I don't like doing, because I just avoid it. It's really bad.
Like anything with straight lines and vehicles.
Yeah, I don't really like making cars or anything with a straight line. Yeah, you're right. Right, shall I read one of the questions that was asked in advance? Okay. You guys probably read them actually on the screen anyway, because it's probably on the... Okay. Where did you do your training and how many years have you been decorating cakes? Okay, so was it 2014 that I started as a hobby? Is that when we started YouTube, or was that 2013?
You started as a hobby in 2013.
So 2013.
And you started as a business in early 2014.
Ah, there we go. So that's when I started. So it was just a hobby back in 2013. And where did I do my training? So I wouldn't really say I did proper training. After I started doing it for a job, I signed up to a local evening college class. And it was, what was it called? Was it the ABC course or something? Was the... something like that? I've forgotten what even qualification it was. And it was just a couple of hours each Tuesday night or something for like a few school term times. Yeah, so I did that, but it was predominantly royal icing, which, as you all know now, it's not something I really do. So I should really look over what I did back there. I remember, like, I did enjoy it, but I do remember just one of the classes we were going to do modelling. So we were going to do some modelling work, and of course, people already knew that I did stuff. So I already had YouTube videos and things at the time, and in that class, I was asked if I would go to the front and show people how I did the modelling, which is fine, but I wasn't then learning anything from that. But the royal icing bits were, you know, they were good, they were useful. It was, I would say, a little bit old-fashioned, the stuff that we learned, but then I guess that's up to you to adapt it and make it into things that are more modern. But that is what I signed up to do, that is, I guess, proper training. Yeah.
But aside from that, it's all self-taught, isn't it? Watching videos.
Well, it is. I mean, I say self-taught, but then I also have been lucky enough to attend classes with other teachers. So Sylvia Mancini, those of you guys that follow me on Facebook will know she's done demonstrations in our Facebook community group. If anybody isn't on Facebook, I'll just explain. So we have like a main Facebook page, but then we have a Facebook community group called Zoe's Fancy Cakers. And in that group, you have to like apply to, well, you click a button to apply to and we just click to accept you in it. But people can then go in and share like questions or pictures of their work, and I'll share like obviously what I've been up to and all that kind of thing. But then Sylvia Mancini has done guest Facebook Lives within that group. We've had a few different teachers in there, and she's also been to teach with us face to face, and quite often when we get a guest teacher to come teach with us, I will get to sit in on the class. So that for me is, you know, I learn all sorts of new things. Even if they're doing a figure and I've maybe done something similar, they still often do it in different ways. So like I get to learn all sorts from them, even ways of how they teach people. So like not even like what they're making, but I don't know, the way they command a room, for example. So I learn all sorts from teachers, other teachers for that. Who else's classes have I done?
Carlos Laschetti.
Carlos Laschetti, yeah, he's very good. He's such a patient man.
Carla
Pudge, who we talked about earlier with the frames that does the busts. She mainly does female ones. I think I'm going to ask her for a male one next time.
You've done quite a lot of sculpting courses as well, haven't you, with people?
Emma Jane. Yeah, Emma Jane. Yes, so I've also done, so not cake decorating, but I've been and done like clay sculpting with Gary Pollard down in London. So he does a lot of stuff for films. He's done like loads of films that you would have heard of, like, and you'll have seen loads of the creatures and creations that he's done that have been in like all the big movies and stuff. I think he's been doing it for a long time. I did a centaur with him, a small centaur. So that was kind of my practice before I went and did the big centaur for Cake International. I should have got a picture of that up ready. I don't think I've got that to hand to show you guys. But I do have a video on the centaur on here somewhere. Not the one I did with Gary Pollard, but my bigger chocolate version is on here somewhere. And then also I did a sculpting course with, what was Richard's called? Can you remember? Something FX in Birmingham. I'll have to find it all, guys, and show you, but that was good. That was, again, another sculpting class that's not cake related, but I really enjoyed that. Yeah. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you very much.
I know, go completely off point now. I'm rambling and then I forget what I was asked. Okay, shall I read more questions off here, or have you got some more on there, Richard?
You can take one off there if you like.
Will you be doing any lives on Instagram and TikTok? I know I've been promising you guys for ages that I'm going to do a live on TikTok.
And Instagram.
And Instagram. So the lives on Instagram and TikTok, are they supposed to be a different type of live to what I do on like Facebook or YouTube, or is it exactly the same thing? I don't know. Where do you guys prefer to see me do the lives? I was thinking YouTube would be a good place now for us to do it.
Which is Facebook and YouTube tend to be landscape, don't they? Whereas Insta and TikTok tend to be portrait. So it depends what you can get in the footage. So I think, personally, not that you're asking me, I think landscape's easy to learn from because you can get more in the screen.
What do you guys think? Do you prefer videos on Instagram? I feel like the Instagram videos and TikTok, people like short things, don't they? And I don't know, I ramble a lot. So for a live, I don't know if one of my lives would work as well, definitely on TikTok or not. I don't know. But we can do them. We can do them on any of the different social media platforms, really. Yeah.
But you know, I'm going to create a poll.
Okay, you create a poll. Which is obviously just realised that you can create a poll on this. So, yeah, do you know what? I had actually written on here to ask you guys where you prefer to watch the videos. Like, do you prefer to watch them on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok? So, the YouTube ones, you guys get the longer version on here of my videos. Then what we do is we cut them down a bit shorter. So, I think usually about a minute long, 30 seconds long. And they tend to go across then Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. So yeah, those three places tend to get the shorter versions. But it would be interesting to know where you guys watch them or where you find like the most useful place. Do you prefer the longer versions or the short versions? So yeah, be nice to hear from you guys on that. Oh, did you manage to get the poll working?
Yeah. We'll see.
Emma thinks YouTube and Facebook are good for lives. Yeah. Edwina says, will I be at CI this year? A question I can answer. Yes. I'm not keeping the answer just as short as that now. Yeah, so last year, it was last year now, we actually had our first stall where I sold my moulds. Hang on, they're in a drawer here. I'll just get them out and show you. Well, actually, no, I've got two of them in a drawer here. No, one. I've got one of them in a drawer here. Thank you so much to everybody that did come and buy these. Actually, I was so surprised at how many of you guys did come over. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I wasn't expecting them to be as popular as they were. And I still owe a massive thank you to all the volunteers that came to help, because I had quite a few really talented people that did come and help me show you guys how to use these, because there were so many of you guys wanting to watch that not everybody could fit around one station, that we had to have several people demoing how to use them. I've done it again and I've got completely sidetracked. Oh, CI. So I'm going to bring out some new molds for CI later this year. We've got a bigger stand, so hopefully we can take a few more things. I'll maybe try and set out a bit better. If anyone was at CI last year and you did come to our stand and you want to give us any feedback on what you didn't like about the stand or what you did like, that would be so useful. Because
aside from being organised chaos.
It wasn't organised chaos, it was just chaos. We weren't organised in any way, shape or form, but I think we weren't expecting it to be as busy as it was, so it got busy before we had a chance to get organised, and then there was no time for us to get organised whatsoever. But no, it was good. It was good. We're going to go and do it again. Last year I did the big centaur. I need to sort out permission for what I'm going to do this year, and then I will hopefully film it again for YouTube, as well as it going to CI. Hopefully I will have my book ready to have out for CI, and then the male molds as well. Now, I don't know actually if that's a question that anyone had asked. Usually people ask if I've got male molds, because we've got male face molds, but no body, but the female has a body. And I actually did make the male face molds, and I accidentally broke, well, I didn't make the mold, I made the body itself, and then it gets shipped off to have a mold made from. I managed to break what I'd made before I shipped it off to be made into a mold, and the people that were making them into molds were like, so you have to hurry up, otherwise you're not going to get these molds in time for when you need them. So I had to just get what hadn't broken done, and then I just haven't got around to remaking the male bodies. So that again is also on this year's to-do list. Sorry guys.
Right, that leads into another question.
Yes.
The Gemma mold, which is the full body female.
Which is that one.
Yep. What male head? Because you've got 4 male heads, haven't you? Which one?
Now this is personal preference. I actually haven't got the male ones here with me, because she is not. Oh, in fact, hang on. Let me just grab what I've made with her. Oh. If you guys will have probably seen that. Hang on. I've also made this with her. Oh, I made this at CI. She's dropping to bits now. So I made this one at CI. So this I used the head, the body and the arms, and this one I've used the legs, body, head, arms for this one. Okay. I don't know how well you guys can see them from there.
Sorry, we zoomed in a bit.
Now, size-wise, for the male heads, we've got one. I realised that I named them all like really bad names, especially when we're shouting across the stand to each other. So the larger head is called Johnny. He's sort of got a squarish jaw. He really goes better with the original face mold. So this is the newest face mold called Gemma. The original ones I didn't give names to. They're just called face mold with eyes, face mold without eyes. And the face mold with eyes is the largest one. The face mold without eyes is the next size down. And then the Gemma is the smallest of the female molds. And the Gemma one is the one that fits the body. I don't have a bigger body yet for the other female heads. Now the male head mold then that fits these most is Brad. But Brad comes in 2 sizes. So Brad has a large and a small face, but there's not a big difference between them. Now, I think either size matches with this, because usually if I make a man and a woman together, I usually end up making the man with a taller face so that they both don't have the exact same face. But that's just my personal preference. So I tend to go for the larger one. But I do know that at the cake show, almost everybody was choosing the smaller version of the Brad head for what they wanted to go with the Gemma face. Hopefully that helps.
Adam goes quite well as well.
Adam also goes, yeah. Adam also fits with him. Adam hasn't got eyes on, so...
No, Adam has eyes.
Oh, has Adam got eyes?
Yes.
I haven't got pictures of them, I forget. So Adam is the only male face that has the eye indentations in there for you, and then the others, you have to put the eye indentations in. Also, if you want to see more videos on YouTube of me using the molds, let me know. And let me know which molds, do you want to see more with the female figure one? I actually would like to do some more doll cakes with the molds, I think. But I haven't really done a lot with the male molds. So, you guys let me know which you prefer. I'm just going to move that
Thank you for that. Alice would like to know what time is it with us here?
Hang on, I will look on my computer. It is 3 minutes past 8 in the evening.
Thank you. Right, well, I'll end the poll now.
Okay.
Can you see the poll at your side?
I can see that it says there's 47 votes on my side, but I don't know how you view the answers.
All right. Well, if I end the poll, it may come on the screen, or we'll see.
Okay. My computer is delayed, I think, compared to when I'm actually talking, if that makes sense. So while you're doing that, shall I have a little look through the other questions that people had asked me earlier? Oh, so somebody said, what upcoming videos do you have planned? I can show you actually what I'm working on at the moment. So right before we came and did the live, I was halfway through a new YouTube video, and I did show you guys like a naked cake at some point across social media, and I asked you guys what I should make with it. So I did although the video's not out yet. It's like a coconut pink Valentine's bear thing.
Oh yeah.
Or like its head. That'll be on in the next day or two. But I'd made spare cake and I asked you guys what you thought I should make with it, and there were loads of really good suggestions, mainly animals. And so I've started it. Now, can you guys see it from there?
Yep.
Hang on, let me lift it up. This is when I break them, when I can't get them off the table. It's got little cookies to go with it, look. My plan was to take a photo. It's got more than one number 2. It's got 3 number 2s. So it says, so it looked like you were saying 2022. That is the year we're in, isn't it? I did do the right year.
Yes.
The year of the tiger, but I'm always so behind with everything, so I should have really done a year of the tiger thing a little while ago, so it was plenty in advance for year of the tiger and the Chinese New Year. So that's one part of it. The other one is going to be a pig and a bee, because quite a few people voted for those things when I asked what I should make out of the cakes. So yeah, that's one that I'm partway through. What else have we got that we're done?
Ooh.
I'm sure so I filmed a basic tools and equipment video. I know it's something that you guys had actually asked for a lot, or at least you had on Facebook. I don't know if it's the same on people that prefer to watch me on YouTube. I don't know if that's something that you guys are interested in or not. So I thought we would do that, see how well it goes, for if you want me to do more. And the basic tools video is specifically for making like the toppers. So more like this kind of thing than what we would use for the cakes. I was gonna do a video that included tools for everything, but I can ramble and talk quite a lot, and it was just getting a little bit too long and boring. Probably like you guys watching this now, thinking, yeah, shut up, Zoe. So yeah, we've just split it, and we'll do more of them.
Should we ask the audience? I'm hoping they've watched the tutorial I went on yesterday.
Bruno went on yesterday. Yes.
You liked that, Kate, didn't you? Zoe?
Did you know what? I love that film. I want to make the house, and I want to make, is it Dolores? I don't know how you say her name. I told you I'm so bad with names. I should just watch the film again, and then I can learn her name. But I thought I could make her into a doll cake, maybe. I know I've done quite a few of the face cakes where it's kind of filmed downwards for you guys. I don't know which kind of thing you prefer to see, but I thought maybe a doll cake for one of the next ones. So yeah, that's what I had planned for the next few. I actually have got quite a few on my to-do list. Aurora's still on there.
Amanda says, where's Tangled on your list?
No, I haven't actually done a Tangled one for YouTube. No, I haven't. No.
There you go.
No. Sue never gets tired of Disney characters. I love Disney characters. I just love the films. I buy so many art of books, so I was going to show you guys. If you want to see one day all my art of books, you probably don't because it's really boring. But if anybody else gets excited about them and you want to see them, I'll show you them one day. Let me know if you do want to see them though.
They may want to see my Lego collection.
I don't think they want to see your Lego collection, Richard. It's thick of dust. So I basically, every time a film comes out, a cartoon film, I buy the art of book that goes with it. So I've got like Art of Tangled, Art of Encanto, Art of Rumble, which isn't out yet. I definitely want to do a cake for that Rumble film. It is called Rumble, isn't it? I did get the name right. The little fighting monsters, wrestling monsters. I really want to make something from that.
Norma really says she needs the Surfman and Woman tutorial.
Oh, so Richard has got pictures of that. In fact, yes, somebody had asked that before. In fact, it was on my list.
Upcoming classes, wasn't it?
Yeah, somebody had said what classes will we be doing in the online classes this year, and will I be making the Surfer an online class soon as well? And I wasn't sure whether the person I didn't know who had asked in advance. No, it might have been Creative Cakes by Lisa that had asked in advance. I wasn't sure if they meant female or male surfer, but I guess we could do both. Again, that was on my list of to do last year, was to make that an online class. I didn't get around to it. Sorry, guys. But I will do.
Another question. In your hair tutorial, do you do afros?
No, actually. So the first hair tutorial I did on Udemy, we did. In fact, I think, did we do a video showing all the hairstyles? I don't think I did do an afro on that one.
Yeah.
Richard's saying I did. I don't remember doing an afro on it. We did dreads. Although I don't know if they look more like dreadlocks or sort of braided.
Yeah, no.
But that was on the man that I did those. There is, on the Udemy classes, so like the hairstyles one, you can watch like a free clip, and I can't remember if on the free clip I actually show every hairstyle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find all the hairstyles And because Richard did like a little video of them, sort of the head rotating, because I do them on like little busts that I'd made and just kept changing the hairstyle of it rotating, and the hairstyle constantly changed. Do you remember, Richard? Did that have every hairstyle on there or not?
Yes.
I don't think I did do an afro. And then I don't know if anyone actually responded when I said if they enjoyed the hair tutorial. People probably did and I just didn't see it, to let me know, because what I was going to do was another one, because obviously there's only so many hairstyles I could do, and there's so many more that I would like to do. Yeah. See, the little afro ones I've done, I've been on, so I did a little Easy Doll. So Sylvia Mancini has these products called Easy Dolls, and I adapted hers, and it had this little afro, and it was one of the cutest figures I've made. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That was really cute.
There is a little video on that one somewhere.
Yeah, but I don't think the video is of me making its hair. I'm going to put that on my to-do list. But I definitely do need to do another hair tutorial as well. And like I say, I'm going to make a video or something that I can put online to show you guys all the hairstyles that are in there, in case it doesn't show you on the advert. Because I think we do like babies, sort of more childlike hairstyles, but I don't think I did many that were sort of curly or afro. So I do need to definitely do more of those. Yeah.
Here's a good question. I think I've seen this somewhere else before, because someone has suggested it. Yes. It was a really good idea. Anna says, "I love the hair glass, so useful. Will you be doing a similar type of class for clothes and how to dress your molds?"
Yeah, I think I could do something like that. I also wanted to do a more advanced wedding couples class, and I also wanted to do just a class just on wedding dresses because I like making them, and there's so many different ones you can do. But yeah, write down all your ideas, guys, and I will have a look through. The problem is, like I say, I'm going to do everything, and then I end up with so many different things that I'm like, oh, what should I do next? Which one should I work on first? And then it takes me so long to do everything. I do have to apologise to you all, because it does take me so long to get around to doing everything. It really does. It's not on purpose, I just am terribly disorganised. Sorry. Okay, shall I see if I had any more questions?
Should I give you the output from the live stream question?
Yes, please do give me. Remind me what the question was.
Where should I live stream going forward? YouTube, Facebook, Insta, or TikTok?
Okay.
YouTube came on top at 74%.
So you kind of thought it might do, because we're currently streaming on YouTube, so most of you guys watching on YouTube probably are happy watching on YouTube.
And then Facebook.
That suits me.
Facebook 21, then Insta and TikTok.
Okay, so there's not as many people want it on Insta and TikTok, so I don't feel as bad that we've not done the lives on Instagram and TikTok just yet, but I know I need to make the effort and do some on there as well. Okay, so I think I only have one more question that people had asked in advance. Oh, actually, no, somebody asked me something just before we came online. Emily, if Emily's watching, please would you text Richard with what the question was that I've forgotten that somebody asked, unless Richard's already asked it. So somebody had said, I've seen some people getting free pins. How do I get one, please? And I think, Richard, have you got pictures of the pins? Oh, I'm wearing one. I'm wearing one.
Right, I'm just going to zoom in.
In fact, I've got some on. Oh, this case is really scruffy. We've got loads of different designs now. Can you guys see that? So I've spilt all sorts. This is one of my toolkits for my equipment and things. It's messy inside there. You probably don't want to see inside.
Keep it whole.
But sometimes I put some of my pins on there. Yeah. So I did a class for the doll cake class. Some of you guys will have seen it. It's one of the online classes. And I basically had thought, I like the design. I'm going to change it into a pin. I actually did the design a long time ago because the doll cake...
It's up on the screen now.
Oh, fantastic.
So that was the original.
This direction?
Yes.
So I changed her into a design for a pin because I thought it'd be quite nice to have some pins. And we do sell them in the shop. And then each month, as they got more popular, I was like, I'll design different versions of them. So we now have quite a few different ones. We even have some in key rings. I thought about doing them in magnets, but I don't know how popular they'd be in magnets. But yeah, I didn't realise people were going to actually start collecting them like they did, which has been really good. I have got some new designs coming out soon as well. Now, the free pin bit is, so each month we release a new one. I say each month, it's been mainly each month. The occasional month I actually have run out of designs and not got new ones made in time. That month didn't go down too well. But we buy in so many. And It's for people that spend over £50 on our online site, but it has to be on like physical products. So it's not money spent on classes or gift vouchers or postage. So it's on like physical products. And then when they spend over £50, they get that month's pin. But we only ever have a limited amount, so they don't always last till the end of the month. Sometimes, you know, if we had a really busy month and customers spent over £50 each, more than they would usually at the beginning of the month, it wouldn't usually last till the end of the month. But that is how you get a free one. We do also like save a handful of them that go on the shop that are purely for if people want to buy them, because I know not everybody wants to buy the cake decorating equipment that we sell but still collects pins. So we've got a few customers that every month will buy the pin as soon as it comes out. And it's been great to see actually what you guys do with your pins. People have got really novelty ways of displaying them and things they do with them.
I think we've got about over 20 now.
What designs? Different designs? I think they're all on the website, the ones that we've done so far.
All the released ones are on the website, yes.
Yeah, and then I have just, actually, was it last week? I've just been designing a load of new ones, so new ones to come soon, guys.
Cool. Right, I've got that question that you asked Emily to send over.
Okay.
Right, so this is from Andrea.
Yes.
Andrea would like to know, ideally, how long would you leave between stages when using your mould?
Oh, so back to the mould. Okay, so this depends on what you're making it with. I feel like I should get the mould out again. Shall I get the mould out just to show you guys? Obviously, I'm not gonna make anything now, otherwise you'll be on here all night with me. So. It could do with a wash. It gets, the fluff sticks to it quite easily. Certain parts of it are easier to use than other parts. Let me get the head out as well. So the head's in a separate box. And some of the different molds are easier to, so the bigger heads are easier to use than like the smaller ones. That looks a lot cleaner than the rest of the body does. I tend to use the Saracino modelling paste, hang on, which is this one. Again, those of you that watch me in the videos all the time will see me using it regularly. You can use like a modelling chocolate, but just watch out that when you put it in, if it's very warm, it's going to be quite sticky. It's sometimes a little bit harder to get out the mould, but you can use it. I personally wouldn't put fondant in. I know this isn't what you asked me, but the reason I'm telling you is depending on what you put in the mould is going to depend on how set it needs to be to remove it. The arms are the trickiest bit. Okay, this is definitely the trickiest bit. Do watch the videos that I have done on these. I know it's a little bit difficult because it's not in real time, so it sometimes looks like I've put it in and taken it straight out, and I haven't. Okay, when I made her, I actually put things in the molds and I forgot about them till the next day. Okay, but I used Saracino and it doesn't always set fully hard, like it firms it up, but if I kind of heat it up again, I can usually move it around a little bit. Now it depends on whether you want the joints to be bent or straight. If you're keeping everything very rigid, like really straight arms, really straight legs, you can let them set fully and then pull them out, which makes it a lot easier to get out of the mold. But obviously the harder the body parts are, the more they're firmed up, the less you can move them around. So like on here, I kept her arms pretty straight, but I sort of flicked out like her wrist and tried to sort of move her fingers around a little bit. So I needed them to have a little bit of flex, so I just kind of rubbed it between my fingers a bit to warm it up. If you're using a gum paste or modelling paste that sets really rock hard, you're not gonna be able to move it if you've let it fully set. Also bear in mind how you're gonna stick them together. If you let them, the different pieces fully set, so the body parts even I should say, it's really hard to push the legs onto the body or the arms onto the body. And I did have that problem when I was doing this one. Like I couldn't get them to just stick instantly because I'd let that body set so hard and the arms set so hard. So I had to create like a glue or a paste with a tiny ball of modelling paste mixed with water to create like a cement that I sort of glued onto her shoulder and then pushed the arm into that sort of cementy bit and then smoothed it down afterwards. So using the mold wise, the harder it is, the harder you let it set, the easier it is to pull out the mold, but then the harder it can be to put the model together. And it's just getting that nice happy medium and balance. So when I use the Saracino, it's got cocoa butter in, so it usually stays flexible a little bit, but not really too soft. Yeah, I would say you want to have a bit of a play around. So if you've got scrap bits of modelling paste, just have a bit of a play around with getting them out of the arms first to see at what firmness level you find easier to remove. But with fondant, it's very small. If the fondant's soft, it's just going to stretch. It's not going to come out like in the same shape as that arm. But at the same time, if you put fondant in and you let that set, it's just going to snap when you take it out. So depending on what you're going to use is going to affect how long you need to put it in there for. But I wouldn't use fondant at all, to be honest, in this. I think it's going to be too difficult for you, even with CMC or Tylos. Or it is for me. If you're really good with fondant and CMC, give it a go. But I personally can't get on with it in these molds. I'm not sure if I answered your question exactly about timing. It really depends on what you're going to put in it, though. Okay. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. Thank you very much, Zoe. Here's a
I'll maybe do a live where you guys can watch me doing it in real, well, maybe not in real life time if it's got to dry, but a live where maybe I've put some in the mold a couple of hours earlier and then we're doing another one, something like that. Sorry, I interrupted, Richard. What was the question?
That's okay. No, I was going to say, Sue actually says that usually about 10 minutes in the fridge works for her.
Yeah, you can put it in the fridge and freezer. That it definitely firms it up quicker. The only thing you just want to be careful of is that you don't leave it in there so long that when you take it out, it gets condensation on it and it gets all wet when you're sort of removing it. Just watch out for that.
Right, here's a good question.
Yes.
Patty Cake this is from Patty Cake.
Yes.
Zoe, did you ever reach a brick wall in your caking journey? Or did you get to a point where frustration kicked in and inspiration went out of the window?
Richard will tell you lots about my frustration. I did once throw a cake I was making, luckily for a YouTube video, at the wall. Well, actually, I think I threw it at Richard. It just hit the wall in frustration because it just wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. And I have a very short temper. I shouldn't tell you all that.
I can vouch for that.
I've got a very short temper and I get very easily frustrated with when things aren't working as I want. You guys just don't get to see all that because it gets cut out of the video often a lot of the time. I mean, I know when I do Facebook Lives, you guys will see when I've done it wrong or when something hasn't quite worked out for me. I try not to lose my cool as much in a Facebook Live because you don't really want me throwing things. But yeah, and sometimes I just feel like, oh, I'm physically exhausted from it. And even though I've got a to-do list that's massive, I suddenly think, can't think what to make for my next video. Just no ideas. Just can't think of anything. Even though I've got a book full of ideas, loads of ideas. So it just depends what frame of mind I'm in. Because then, like a week later, I might be like, oh, I can't wait to get on with this. And then I'm putting even more ideas in my book that I never get round to. But yeah, I quite often will hit a brick wall and get fed up and be like...
But it's true that you just need to step away sometimes, don't you? Take some time out.
Yeah. I think sometimes I overdo it when because you know I do it 7 days a week and we stay up till quite late usually working. And not so much I would say maybe this last year as what I used to do, but I used to stay up very late every night working on cake stuff. And sometimes when you're doing it all the time for every single hour of the day, it can get a bit much and then you get a bit fed up. So take a bit of time out to do other things. It's difficult, isn't it, when your hobby is cake decorating and that's also your job as well as your hobby, because you want to do it lots of hours. But yeah, you do sometimes hit a brick wall with it.
That's what holidays are for.
Yeah. But when I go on holiday, that's when I'm like, oh, I wish I had my cake decorating stuff because I really want to make that now into something, especially because we're going to Florida. So we'll go do like the theme parks and stuff, and everything I pick up, I'm like, oh, I want to make this in a cake. And then I wish I had all my stuff. But then by the time I got home, I'm like, no, I can't be bothered making that in a cake now. So, yeah.
Are we doing any live streams whilst we're on holiday?
I don't know.
So that's a possibility then.
It may be. I don't know. It depends on if that's something that you guys would like to see or not. Yeah. Do you want to see live streams while we're over there? I probably won't really have my cake decorating stuff with me. Or maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I could take some modelling paste and do some things in the hotel room. I don't know. Richard likes to film. Last time we went to Florida, because we've been a few times, Richard filmed everything that we did, but then we never did anything with the footage. Oh, I think actually we put a YouTube video on here of when we went to Amorette's. Yeah. It wasn't the most popular video in the world, but I guess it was quite different to what we would normally put on here. Yeah.
Very true.
Right, any more questions that I have completely missed? Apologies, guys, if I haven't seen all your comments.
I'm just looking back through these.
Other people get angry and throw stuff as well. It's nice to know. Once in one of my old jobs, they offered to send me on an anger management class. That's probably too much information, isn't it?
It's believable.
Can you make an Xbox Halo helmet? Before the end of February, not before the end of February, sorry. Do you know what? I wanted to do a Boba Fett helmet. Is what I wanted to do. Again, I've not got around to it, but that's been on my list to do for a while. A Boba Fett or Mandalorian, which one? Which one do you prefer? I like the colours of Boba Fett's more, but I like the Mandalorian program more than the Boba Fett program. Sue says, no, enjoy your time off. Holidays, take a break. That's when I get excited about doing a cake decorating, is when I'm on holiday though. That's weird.
Well, that's quite interesting.
Orlando.
I didn't realise this. Tammy's made a comment, you don't need to have a social media account to use YouTube.
Oh, that's good, because do you know what I was saying on Facebook? I wish I didn't have a personal Facebook page, but I think I have to for my business page, because I used to be on Facebook all the time when I was younger. But now I'm on it for work all the time. The last thing I want to do is go on my personal page. I don't know if you guys ever feel the same way or not, but I don't check my personal Facebook page. And then I worry that actually some people message me on my personal page instead of like the cake page, thinking that's the best place to get hold of me. And I don't see their message till like 6 months later. And they must think that I have just ignored them. So yeah, I just wish I didn't have to have a personal Facebook page. But I've got one. Okay, so just reading through your comments. Is there any questions we have missed? There probably is, guys. If there's a question we've missed and we've not answered and you want to ask it, just ask now. Norma played at Christmas the game where you have to guess who you are from a post-it note on your head. Oh, her kids wrote Zoe. My guess was, am I female? Am I in the cake world? And the third guess she got right. Oh, I don't think I've ever been part of a game before. I've not played that game for a long time. I wouldn't have guessed it. I wouldn't have known it if someone had me on them. Oh, Byron says, do I say your name right, Byron? Because I'm really bad at pronouncing names, so I apologise to anyone whose name I've pronounced wrong. Zoe, how long does it take to edit your videos? I don't edit them.
You wouldn't have a clue, would you?
If it was me editing, probably you'd be waiting over a month for like an hour's video or an hour's worth of filming. I don't know. So Richard occasionally does video editing, not so much at the moment, do you, Richard? And then I actually have two editors. So one is my brother, and then the other is Richard's sister's fiance. So and both of those guys do the video editing for me. I actually don't know how long it takes. They might be watching now. I don't know. Lee might be watching.
Every video is a little bit different, isn't it? Because some are a lot more complicated than others, depending on the number of camera angles. If it's a straight top-down cake, like the face cakes, for example...
Yeah, they're much quicker.
Because it's literally one camera angle. Whereas if you've got ones that are going from a variety of points...
Yeah, so like the Buttercream ones, you know, where it's on a turntable and we have to go from above and the side. They take a lot longer because they have to watch both angles of the video footage. And sometimes I just make it really awkward for them by accident and have things not really in shot, or I'd have the radio on, or I don't know, things that they have to cut out a lot more. Or I just leave it recording for 5 hours while I've wandered off to do something else. I don't like to make it easy for them with the editing. I don't know. Each of them usually edits one video a week, don't they? Roughly.
Plus, like, do other
but then they're also making like the short video clips for like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that kind of thing as well. And then I give them random other stuff to do too.
Joey gives them a lot of random other stuff to do.
I do, yeah.
Diana would like to know, what is the best type of cake for carving?
Ooh, honestly, a packet mix. Packet mix cake usually carves much better than a freshly baked one, but you've got to think about what you want it to taste like. Usually I will freeze it anyway, so if I freshly baked one, I can freeze it and then it makes it a little bit easier for me to carve. Usually the denser the cake, the better, but then the drier the cake, the more it just crumbles. My favourite one is like a chocolate cake, and I use the BBC Good Food Guide recipe. I'll see if I can find it. I know I've promised you guys that recipe before, and then I always forget to I say find it. I should know it off by heart, that one, because it's the one that we use the most. And that's really nice, and it's really moist, but sometimes it's quite soft for carving, but I do like to use that, but I would just stick it in the freezer. Madeira is a good one because it's quite firm. I personally aren't the biggest fan of like a Madeira cake though, but yeah, if If you just want to practice and you don't want to do a lot of baking, actually packet mix is usually quite good for carving, especially if you're only practicing with it. I know that's probably not what people wanted to hear, but it is your easiest option for carving. Or for me, I think it is.
There's a question.
Yes.
What is your favourite YouTube tutorial that you have done?
Oh goodness, I can't even remember them all.
You've done over 600.
Have I done over 600 videos now?
Yes. We should have asked, can you remember all 600?
No, I can barely remember any. Sometimes I remember them and I cringe and I think, oh, that one's embarrassing. Can we delete it? And then the boys won't let me delete it off YouTube. Do you know what? I don't know which has been my favourite. I can't even think of them all. I did enjoy the Hey Dougie one. That's not a very old one, is it? I also have a memory that lasts about 10 minutes, guys, so I do forget things really easily. Well, actually less than 10 minutes, as you've noticed from when I answer the questions and can't remember the question.
I'm happy you admitted that, because you would never admit that to me.
You know that I say I can't remember things all the time. Yeah, I don't know, which have been your guys' favourite tutorial that I've done?
There's a difference between favourite and useful, because I think that's the thing. Sometimes you see a tutorial...
Oh, was the question useful or favourite?
Favourite.
Okay,
but useful is a different word there, because obviously...
Do you know what? Actually, no. When I did Mary Poppins, that was... I know it's a while ago, and now I look back and I think, I could have maybe done it better. But at the time, when I did the Mary Poppins tutorial, I was so pleased with it. Like, I was really impressed with that. And then it was really nice because a lot of people actually did that one, and they were able to repeat it and redo it. So I thought, I must have done it well enough that people could kind of understand what they had to do for it. Because sometimes, you know, we cut a bit out to make them short because people get bored of watching them before they end when they're really long. And sometimes I worry that actually we've cut bits out which kind of help you. So if ever we do that, I'm sorry. You guys have stuck with us a long time tonight. If any of you are still there from the beginning, that is.
Dave says, I think we covered this already actually, but
okay.
I think Dave made a joke. When you freeze your cakes, do you thaw them out a little before you carve them?
Well, I say no. Usually I get them out and I get straight on, but I faff around a lot. So by the time I get round to carving them, which I think is straight away, probably isn't straight away. So they've probably been out like 15 minutes at this point. So they're not solid. Like they're soft enough that I can usually carve, especially around the edges. And they're usually still kind of frozen in the middle when I'm working on them, but firm-ish on the outside. Yeah, I get them out and then realise I haven't made my buttercream or I've not coloured fondant. Or when I bother colouring fondant, usually I just buy it ready coloured because I'm lazy like that. Yeah, by the time I finish faffing, it's already kind of started defrosting a little bit anyway. But do let it fully defrost before you put your fondant on, because that's when you get that condensation that we talked about earlier on, and then it gets a bit sticky. Yeah. Any other questions? Sorry.
Thank you for that.
Oh, Diana would love to see us going through Disney World and pointing out all the things that inspire you. I could do that.
That would be the world's longest video.
I don't even go on many of the rides. I just like to look at everything that's there. Some of the rides I do go on though, because I like looking at the things like, what's the mermaid one? What's it called? Or is it just called the Little Mermaid?
I don't know.
The one with Ariel. I like that ride because I like all the little characters on it and stuff, but it's quite dark, so I can't take very good pictures.
And the Peter Pan one.
Yeah. And the Peter Pan one. That's pretty cool. I don't go on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride because I have a phobia of mannequin dummies. I don't think it's a real phobia, but I really don't like them. So I don't go on that. That one freaks me out. I think it would freak me out. I've never been on it, so I don't know. I'm just reading some comments, sorry.
What YouTube videos have you got most viewed or liked? I think it's a Corpse Bride, possibly.
It's that or the Bollywood Dancer.
Is it? Oh,
yeah, I think our top performing videos were Corpse Bride and the Bollywood Dancer one. Which I was surprised at, because usually if they're not a known character, they don't do as well for me.
Corpse Bride #1, Snow White #2.
I've forgotten about Corpse Bride. She's actually one of my favourite ones that I've done.
And that's Corpse Bride #1, Snow White #2, Bollywood #3.
Now, Snow White is not a favourite of mine. I know she was popular. I don't think I did her very well. At the time, it was all right because I'd not been doing it very long, and of course you only get better with time, and not everything works out as you plan. Like, you know, when I did Mirabelle the other day, a few people did comment that she looked like she'd had a stroke. She did look like she'd had a stroke, I know. I still don't like to read the comments, but, you know, I did make her look a little bit funny looking. But, you know, sometimes I don't always get it quite right. Quite often I don't get it right, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm just reading on here, Kay Miller. Kay Miller is Catherine, isn't it?
Yes.
I have to apologise, Zoe. I made a comment years ago on one of your videos saying my daughter wouldn't go to bed until she watched her Zoe video. I didn't mean you make her fall asleep. It's fine, but I do make people fall asleep. A lot of people do put them on for the children's bedtime stories. My friend says that her kids watch me on YouTube before bed because of my relaxing voice. I don't think it's particularly relaxing. I think I've got a boring voice, but thank you for saying you didn't mean that. But yeah, I am aware that I put people's videos on that make me fall asleep. I think, to be honest, as soon as I put any video on, I start falling asleep, though. I don't know why.
Claire says, hey Zoe, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I hope you are too, Claire. Is it Claire I know, or?
I'm unsure.
Oh, it's Claire Mansfield. Hey, Claire. Oh, look at what Byron says. In my honest opinion, I think Zoe looks identical to Cinderella from the Disney cartoon. I've never had that one before. Usually when people think I look like anybody, it's, what's the lady from Sex and the City?
Carrie.
Yeah, but I won't tell you my response when people tell me that. Yeah, is Carrie the main lady?
It's not
You knew it. You said you don't watch it. You knew it.
I think I was subjected to it years ago.
Right, hang on. Somebody had said something and I was going to read it out and now I've lost the comment. My computer no longer wants to scroll. Hang on.
Zoe's not the best with technology. I think she mentioned that.
Like, I've got something in my fingers that breaks things. Richard bought me a brand new mobile phone, a new Apple phone, and literally an hour later it stopped working. And he was convinced that I'd done something to it, and I hadn't done anything wrong to it. My fingers just break things. Oh, here we go. It's moving again. It is on the move. No, Vivid asked something.
I think it was about ganache and cake.
No, Vivid asked which cake tins I like best. I actually like the Alan Silverwood ones best. I don't have all my cake tins anymore because I don't make them for customers. I actually got rid of loads and I gave them to the guy at the vegan cafe, the Greenhouse Cafe. He got a lot of them. I kept a lot of my smaller ones, but my favourite ones were always the Alan Silverwood ones, but they're getting really hard to get hold of now. Like, we sell them in the shop, but we don't have a huge variety anymore because I think due to coronavirus and like something to do with their production, it made it difficult for that. So
yeah. You do use PME ones as well.
Yeah, I do like the PME ones. Alan Silverwood ones are my most favourite ones. So
it was Sarah Jessica Parker. There you go. Thank you, Andrea.
Who's Carrie then?
I think it's a character.
That's the woman from the horror film, isn't it?
No, I think that's a character in it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I probably wouldn't even get that now, but yeah. Right, sorry, I'm just reading through. This is why, look, I have to have somebody here with me reading comments, because...
Here's one. Why are the green rabbits behind you?
Oh, I bought them for my Easter videos, and I've put them there ready for Easter videos. I haven't actually made any Easter videos yet. Oh, I started filming actually Easter eggs. I don't know if you can see... Well, you can see the boxes. They're really cheap things from... Where did I get them from?
The Easter egg molds or the
green bunnies. They're from, like, Home Bargains or somewhere. Was it Home Bargains? They were like a couple of quid or something, weren't they? Really cheap. And I thought, they're nice and Eastery. I might put those in the background of my Easter videos. And I've put them there ready and not really done the Easter videos yet. Yeah.
Just following on from cake tins, Diana says, do you use 2-inch or 3-inch high tins?
Most of mine are actually 3-inch tall, but...
When I used to bake cakes for our weddings, I used to use the shallow ones because they were a lot quicker and easier.
Yeah. I have a tendency to bake them thicker than what Richard does, and then I'll just cut them. But sometimes it takes a lot longer to bake them, doesn't it?
So shallow tins are good if you're doing lots of stacking things.
But even when we do the shallow cakes, we tend to still put them in the 3-inch tall tins. I actually don't... Are they 3-inch tall, actually? 1 second. I'm going to have a look, because they might even be 4-inch. Sorry, I've got my leggings on, guys. The 3-inch... The 3-inch, I don't even know if I've got them in shot or not.
Yeah, that's fine.
See, I'm actually wearing my gym kit, sorry guys.
Sue says she loves your new kitchen. It's not finished yet.
I was going to give you a tour around, and then I thought, actually, I better not, because there's literally some washing hanging over there on like the clothes horse. And we've just had to pretty much empty most stuff from upstairs, downstairs, and that's all here. most of it is my books. I have a lot of books. I don't read, but I've got a lot of books. And there's still parts of the kitchen in pieces and boxes over here on the floor with no flooring. So I thought maybe I'll wait while we're a little bit further on with the kitchen to do you all a kitchen tour. Yeah.
Sure, thank you.
I can't get back on my chair again. So when we got like this little bit of the kitchen fitted, I meant to get it so I could get my legs underneath, and we haven't. I've got cupboards here and I can't get my legs under. So when I'm sat on a chair, I'm like sat with legs on either side, and I can't get them back over now. I'm getting old and my legs are seized up, so now they have to stay over here. Right, completely off track. I am going to read everybody's comments, I promise, because I know a lot of you guys are putting really nice comments. Thank you. I just keep like the messages keep moving up as I'm trying to read them. I'm rubbish with this kind of thing. I seem to be going over the same like 5 comments and not being able to look through other ones. Oh, Lindsay says my molds are amazing and have transformed her life and cakes. That's really nice to know. I should probably read the rest of the message as well. Do you by any chance have a male body mold? You might have asked this before I was talking about it actually. Yes, I am going to sort out the male body mold. I am definitely going to do that for you guys. Actually, somebody suggested that I should do a cat and a dog mold as well. I don't know what your opinion is. I know that people sort of said, especially because they're using the molds a lot for like wedding couples, and often, and I used to get asked a lot when I was doing wedding cakes for the pets putting on there, which was usually a cat or a dog. So would you guys find that useful or not? I feel like cats are easier because a lot of them are kind of more generic shape, whereas dogs vary a lot more in size and shape than like cats do, for example. I know that you do get different breeds of cats and they do vary, but I feel like dogs vary more than cats. Like if I only do one dog and one cat, if that makes sense. Okay, which questions have I missed?
Claire responded to you. Claire's
Yes.
doing okay, but we need to wish her well with her back because she has a bad back.
Oh, I hope you're all right with your back, Claire. Do you know, I used to get, well, not a proper bad back, but I used to get really sore back from leaning over my table all the time. And then when we moved into the shop, because I just used to do it at the dining room table at home all the time. Then when we moved into the shop, I am completely telling you things that nobody cares about, but it's fine. That nobody asked. I got higher worktops put up everywhere. But then the problem was, because I'm so small, when I was trying to roll out fondant, I wasn't tall enough to put any pressure on, to roll out the fondant. So Richard used to have to roll it out because I don't have a sheeter. I don't know if any of you guys have got sheeters or not for your cakes. I never had space for a sheeter. Did it sound like I say something else?
No.
Okay.
Norma just said, I just realised she just put Bruce's snoring. I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, Bruce snores quite loud. Bruce is the dog for anybody that's just joined us.
Somebody did ask, is he a Frenchie? Yes, he is a Frenchie.
He is a French bulldog, yeah. This is quite quiet for his snoring at the moment. In fact, sometimes like when I'm doing voiceovers for the YouTube videos, he's like... Although I think I do that as well, actually, in the videos. So you won't know if it's me or him. But yeah, he often is sat next to me when I'm talking over the videos and he's snoring really loud because I don't talk while I'm doing the videos. I used to talk through what I'm doing, but it makes the video a lot longer. And then the guys editing it are like, well, we wanted to cut that bit out, Zoe, but we couldn't because you just didn't stop talking. So now there's no sound in the background. They edit it to the size they want it to be, and then I talk over the top afterwards. Yeah. Because I think generally on YouTube, do people last about 3 minutes?
For what viewing time?
Yeah. Apart from you guys. Who are fantastic
it varies.
and have made it this long
You're
through.
normally about
But yeah, I think
between
most
3 to
people
5 minutes.
last not very long before they've had enough and switch off. Yeah. Right, is there anything else I need to answer before we go?
Have you got any more? Have you done all your questions on your sheets?
I think I have. Let me just read my notes. Oh, somebody did ask why Massa Ticino paste is so sticky. And I'm not sure if you mean the Massa Ticino or the newer one that's the Massa Mona Lisa. Because I would have said the Mona Lisa is slightly more sticky than, say, something like your couture. But only to the point where I need to just put a bit of corn flour or something on my hands just to stop it sticking. If it's really sticky, it might just be that there's something wrong with that batch, because sometimes when you buy different fondants, if you notice it's not the same every time, it's sometimes that, a batch of it isn't quite right. Let me know. If any of you guys have used the Massa and you find it sticky, just let me know. I mean, every fondant is a little bit different. It shouldn't be so sticky. So, just let me know. Wasn't a very long answer to that one, was it? But I haven't got any here with me either to I might have some black in the cupboard, but then black is always stickier than white, so it would be difficult for me to trial it on black, if that makes sense. That's the same with all of the different fondants. The black tends to be a bit stickier and messier. You guys probably see on my videos that my hands are always filthy after using black.
A question, Kay Miller. I think it's Catherine this. I'm sure it's Catherine's her name. I know it's not cake related, but how on earth do you stay so fit working with cakes and sweets all day?
Well, I don't. So this last couple of weeks, been making a bit more of an effort to get to the gym. I've literally been living in my gym kit, thinking if I put my gym kit in the morning, it might make me go to the gym at some point, and I have been to the gym today, which makes it even worse that I'm still wearing my gym kit. My plan was to go get showered after we finished this Q&A session. I didn't work that hard though, so I didn't get that sweaty, so it's fine. So I've been trying not to eat the cakes as much. I've been trying to give them away. So you'll notice sometimes in the YouTube videos, sometimes I cut the cake, sometimes I don't. The problem is when I cut it, I eat it. Possibly not the whole cake, but I definitely have at least a piece or two. Whereas if I don't cut it, I can give it away to like a next door neighbour or a family member. To be honest, I can give a cut one to a family member. They can have like a few pieces. But yeah, if it's the whole cake, it's easier to just give to somebody. Like the workmen that have been working here and stuff, I've been just giving them the cakes I've made and things. Yeah. Also baking, it's better if someone else just bakes for me because then I'm less likely to eat it. Like as I level all the cakes, I always eat the offcuts. I'm terrible for it. And I've been trying to do more with chocolate for the videos. Again, it's not good for my health because I eat so much of it. So yeah, I'm now on a trying to get fit thing.
You're having to record everything you eat as well, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I've got one of them apps on my phone where you have to put everything in. I don't put everything in it because I always go over on my calories unless I just miss out putting the foods in. Then that way I'm alright.
Well,
Not sure that's how it works.
Here's a good one.
Yes.
Andrea says, any tips for delivering a cake to a venue 3 hours away? That's a long trip with a cake.
It is. And how far did we used to take them? We did have some that were about that, but not many. But mainly because people didn't want to pay the money we were charging to go that far.
Yeah, I mean,
I used to take them stacked. Well, Richard did. But for me, it was harder to stack a cake at a venue, but then it's easier to transport it in separate tiers. But what I used to find was sometimes the venues wouldn't let me put it where it was going and stay in, and then they'd move the cake, and I'd think, well, if I've only just stacked it and stuck it together and they move it 10 minutes after I leave, there's a chance that, you know, they might knock something or break it. Whereas if I stacked it and fully stuck it together with like royal icing or chocolate ganache the night before I was going to take it, it would just fully kind of set solid together, and then it would transport as one cake. Sometimes they were just a little bit tall. Richard once didn't tell me until weeks after that sorry, the dog's having a drink, that's what the noise is, that he removed a bride and groom's head so that he could fit them in the back of the car. Because I would have had a heart attack if he did told me that straight away. And then apparently he just put the head or the heads back on when you got there.
I also fixed cakes and delivered them too.
Does that mean you broke them?
No, but
he doesn't tell me these things.
But when you're travelling, some things do slip.
Tips are definitely get some non-slip mats in the back of your car, or we got a van in the end, didn't we? Which gave us quite a bit more space.
Yeah, we used to do them all in the back of the car, and used to make sure we used to put soft cushioning around the boxes. So like,
yeah, so we either put empty boxes in around the box. So the cake would be in a big box, and I didn't often buy cake boxes. I would literally we'd buy them new, but the big brown cardboard boxes that you buy like if you're moving house, so that they were tall enough to actually fully go over my cake. Sometimes I would take the top as separate. So if the bride and groom were particularly fragile, I would take them as a separate piece in a small box and then just put those on when we got to the venue, or Richard would put it on depending on who was going. Sometimes I used to go, but you know, apparently it caused too much stress if I go do it. Always in the boot, never on a car seat, because it's just got that tilt, and especially if you are going to take it stacked. Sorry, the dog is being noisy. He's not barked tonight, actually. Sometimes like he goes crazy barking. Luckily we've not had that. I probably spoke too soon. Yeah, if you've got it tiered, obviously you've got your pillars in. If you've got that on a car seat, instead of it being upright, those pillars holding it up, everything's going to tilt, and those pillars are not going to hold your cake up, and that's when it's going to collapse. So it's so important that you keep it in like the boot on like a non-slip mat or something in a box, so that nothing can kind of get to it, touch it, or it get dirty. And then we used to put something soft around it. To be honest, they were so heavy that they didn't really budge anyway, but just in case, we used to do that, and we used to have to be so careful of speed bumps. You can buy things to go in your window, can't you, as well, saying cake on board or something, so
We
that
used to
people are
sell them,
aware
they were
if...
quite popular.
Were they?
Yeah.
So that people knew, like, if you were driving quite slow. But it's really annoying. You get there to the venue, or almost to the venue, you'd get to the driveway, and then they'd have all speed bumps going up the driveway, and you just think, oh, always at the venue, the blooming speed bumps. I don't know, what tips would you say you've got? I would say leave plenty of time.
Brake before you think you need to brake, because that's the one thing that will, if you go into a roundabout too quick.
Yeah, you just don't want to turn fast, you don't want to slam the brakes on.
Yeah.
But that's the same with any distance, isn't it? Whether it be long or not long.
And
You just want to make sure you've got aircon on in the car for if it's a hot journey.
You watch out for potholes.
Yeah, and take spares. So if you are doing sugar flowers and you're worried that they're going to kind of clatter against each other and snap in transport, just take a few spare ones that you can put in there when you get there. Yeah, I don't miss taking cakes to venues. Unless they were tiny cakes, in which case it wasn't as much of an issue. Are there any questions I've missed? Sorry.
No, I think I was going to say we've been on nearly 2 hours, so I'll probably start bringing it to an end.
Okay, I'll let you all go, guys.
No, well, no. Richard's getting hungry. Kelly says, just to say, I've ordered online supplies from you many times and it's always great. Everything comes quick and you always keep in touch about the order.
Aww.
I will always be ordering from you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad that you like the online ordering.
Natasha asks, is the body mould on your website?
Yes, and it does.
The female one is, yes.
Yeah, the female one is, where I don't even know where I've put it now. It comes, because I think I've kind of confused people. The body comes with the head, so you don't have to order the head separate. It's just that it's in a different box. It didn't fit in the same box when we had them made. There is tutorials on the YouTube channel as well for using these. How many have I got? 2 or 3 tutorials for this one. But then I've got other face molds as well with some tutorials.
You've got 3 on that one.
But yeah, if you put in the female figure, it comes with a head, so you don't have to put a head in your basket as well. Just so you know, because I know that, like, I did confuse people a lot at first with that. I confuse people a lot quite easily, so apologies, guys. Right, am I wrapping up now, Richard, or are there other things I've missed? I will go through everybody's comments, guys, I promise, and respond or take note of what people do and don't want to see.
I say Sue will see you at Disney World as well, because we're there at the same time.
Oh, is Sue going to Disney World at the same time as us?
Well, a couple of days different, but we'll be there around the same time.
Well, it has to overlap if we're going to bump into her.
It does overlap.
Okay. I'm sure you'll see me coming anyway.
Anna says, there are a few more questions, but I'll keep it.
Okay.
Are you planning to open your shop for people to browse again in the future?
Okay, so Richard's answer to that is a definite no.
It's more health and safety, because we've got like warehouse racking now, so it's more the fact if you pull something off the top, you might bring down
it's not really set out like a shop anymore where you can just find things. So everything's in big boxes, and we usually write on the front of a box, so we'll sort of pull something out of a box rather than, it's not browsable. But it's hard in that when we had a shop, you had to pay an assistant, or we had to sit on like the shop front, the till, and actually we're not a busy shop with people just sort of dropping in, so we'd spend far more on staff's wages than what we'd take from
online. Is completely different.
Yeah, online it's much busier, so we do click and collect, so people order online and then they'll come in. Sometimes when people come in and they've done their order, they'll be like, well, have you got this? And I can quickly sort of show them on a shelf, like, yeah, you can have this fondant or this fondant, which isn't too bad, but we're not sort of just open for general browsing. I think when we start doing the classes again, what we'll do is the students will be able to, after the class, probably go look around a little bit. And like I say, it's difficult to look around, but also we're not always there. Like, we're not a huge team, there's not a lot of us, so sometimes if me or Richard aren't there, there's not always somebody at the venue. So if people were just sort of dropping in, they'd be like, no one's there, I can't get in. So by us not having people just dropping in, it makes it a little bit easier in that if we need to come away to do something else for a couple of hours, like we can do. Yeah, I know there was a few people disappointed because they did want to be able to come in and browse, but I think definitely the moment anyway, it's staffing wise and time wise, it's
but like we'll be doing classes there, because somebody, I know you mentioned classes there, but the classes are going to be the new venue, aren't they?
Yes, so Carla's are the first classes, so we've got guest teacher for the first one. I know technically I should really teach first, I just haven't got around to sorting out the classes. So she's going to be the first one, and that is end of March.
31st of March.
31st of March, so they'll be the first one, so my classroom will be ready by then. I think it's probably going to need another paint job on the walls. And then I need to get some new desks, because I've got desks from the old classroom, but I think I'm going to get new ones for the new classroom. In fact, actually, while people are on there, I don't know if any of you guys watching have been to my face-to-face classes. I was going to ask, so I presume that when I start face-to-face ones again, I'm probably best having different to what the online classes are, because people will think, well, because obviously it costs more money to do one face-to-face. So for example, like my wedding couples class, that used to be my most popular face-to-face class, but now it's online. Should I keep doing it as a face-to-face class as well? Or do you think people will be like, well, no, it's online, so why should I pay more to come do it in person because you've got it online? Do I need to come up with entirely new classes face-to-face? Or does that then make it difficult again for people that are never going to be able to come to do face-to-face classes, because they'll be like, well, you put another new one on, but it's not online, we need to do it online. Does that make sense? That's what I need to think about now. So yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I say that about everything, don't I? And if I can't make up my mind, I just let you guys just suggest things instead to me, because it's way easier. Yeah. And then if anybody hasn't joined our Facebook community group that wants to, we'll put a link in. And I think most of you guys are probably members of the community group, but it's a really good way as well for me to see what you guys have been making, because I know a lot of you guys do the tutorials and you do create things, and I do really like seeing what you make. If it's on Instagram, just tag me and it say like, oh, Zoe, I've used your tutorial, and tag me, and then it usually shows up for me. On a weekend I don't see it as much, because I'm not actually on social media as much on a weekend as during the week. But yeah, I try and pick things up on the Instagram in the stories or on the posts, but also community group. That's a good place to put things.
And we are going to actively look to try and use the YouTube community page as well, because there is a community tab.
Yes, so we have been. Yeah, did you guys know there was? I didn't even know. It was Emily. So Emily helps me with social media. So Emily is online at the moment, putting links and things in for you guys. Like when I've just said about community groups, she'll put like the link on there for you. So she helps me massively with all that kind of thing. I was looking at Jackie. Jackie as well helps with our community group. Jackie has just put join. But yeah, it's a good place for not only me to respond, but if you've got a caking question and I didn't answer it straight away, say for example, other members in there they might even have like way more experience than me, will be able to help as well. And you'll find you'll get all different opinions from different people. Or even if you just, like you say, you just want to show everybody work that you've done in there, that's fine. But it's quite a nice place. It's generally a nice, friendly place. We don't allow the non-friendly comments in there, so you'll find, yeah, it's nice. I'm just reading some more comments. Oh, as for someone in the US, I get so jealous of the in-person classes. Do you know what? Before coronavirus, I was supposed to be coming to the US, wasn't I?
The first time, yeah.
For the first time for me to come teach in the US, we had a few places lined up. There was supposed to be loads of places actually that I was going to do, and then obviously coronavirus.
Can't believe it's been like, well, it's been nearly 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, we were going to do Is It So Flow as well this year, but I just wasn't sure if it was too close to coronavirus and if I would actually be able to travel and stuff for it, so I ended up not doing it. Has it already happened, or is it about to happen, So Flow? I can't even remember when it was.
March, April time, I think. So
anyway, I wasn't sure if things would be right or not for it, so I didn't end up signing up to it, so maybe we'll do that next year.
For anyone that doesn't know, So Flow is a cake show in Florida, isn't it?
Florida, yeah. I think it's Florida.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where we're going on holiday?
Mm-hmm.
Just after we got back from holiday there?
Yeah.
Is South Florida? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I forget. Because I actually thought about, when we were there on holiday, renting like a hotel room or something and running a class, but I think I've left it a bit late to organise that. Plus, I then have to take all the tools and equipment for the class with me if I'm organising it myself, and then it probably wouldn't all fit in my suitcase because all the modelling paste is quite heavy. But yeah. Okay, I'm just going to read some more comments just quickly. What if you can come to the class, could you get discount on the online one? They have the added extra of having you there for constructive criticism. Yeah. And then Vivian says, I can't realistically come to your classes due to distance and cost, so online is fab, and it's made such a big difference. See, that's nice to know that it being online has made a big difference for people. It has. Do you know what? The online classes have made a big difference for me. I like the face-to-face classes, and I like to see you guys in person, because it is always nice for me to see exactly what you're doing and be able to say, well, actually, try this, try that. And I can't see what you're doing as much online, but obviously I can see your finished products when you share them and everything, which is always really nice. But it is nice that people can watch it anytime online, and also you've got like a record of it. When it's face-to-face, you've done it once, but it's not recorded, if that makes sense. You have to take photos and remember it and stuff yourself. Whereas online, you can just keep watching it back as many times as you want. But also online, I don't have to do it all in one day. So I was kind of limited a bit with classes, face-to-face ones, in that, you know, people don't want to commit to days and days. Sorry, Richard's just doing this with his tummy, like he's hungry, and I'm rambling on. I can ramble on for quite a long time. But I've forgotten what I was saying. What was I saying? He's not going to remind me so that
face-to-face classes can do everything in one session.
Yeah, so online. Sometimes, like we were saying about like using the mould, you know, some pieces I want to set a little bit longer, especially if you're doing something tall and thin and it needs the support. You know, the bottom part of it might need a day or two to set. Online, I can do that. I don't have to do it all in one go. So that's the advantage of the online classes than it is face-to-face. Whereas face-to-face, sometimes there's just things I can't do because I won't get it finished within the time frame of a face-to-face class. So yeah, not that anybody asked about that, but I know I told you anyway. Oh, thank you everybody that's saying hi and sending their love. And thank you. Thank you for all the lovely comments.
Right, I was going to say one quick one. I know you answered this one already.
Okay.
What is your favourite taste in sugar paste?
I don't really like sugar paste.
There you go.
No, do you know what? It's weird. As a kid, I used to love sugar paste. And I know this is what we get the most comments on YouTube is, ugh, I would never eat that cake. I'd rather eat like dog poo. That's what I get a lot of. Not from you guys that are watching now, but it's because of the fondant. And then people say, oh, it looks nice, shame about the fondant. Who would eat fondant? Or she ruined the cake by putting fondant on it. So I'm trying to do a few more buttercream ones. Like I say, buttercream is not a strong point of mine. But then at the same time, like I like buttercream, but I like it in small amounts. If I've got a cake with loads of frosting or buttercream on, that for me is too much. That's just like me eating a lump of fondant to me. I wouldn't say I've got a favourite flavoured fondant. I can eat it if it's thinly rolled out. I'm trying to think if there's any that I've tried where I'm like, oh, no, I don't like the taste of that. But I'll be honest, I don't even always try them all now because sometimes I peel it off the cake.
You use them to pen them because they're all got a slightly different quality, don't they? Some are better for one.
The Renshaws one actually is a nice, well, I say nice tasting one as far as fondant goes. They all just taste of sugar, to be honest. I had one a while ago that didn't really taste of anything, and I can't remember what one it is. But the Renshaws do a marshmallow one, actually. That one I prefer. They do a marshmallow flavour, the Renshaws Extra. Do you remember, Richard?
Yes.
I haven't actually used it for a little while, but I do like that one. They're all pretty much on a par, the ones that I use, I would say, taste-wise. But if you do want to make it taste nicer, mix it with like some modelling chocolate, just so you've got that little bit more of the chocolate taste. Renshaws also, I feel like I'm just promoting Renshaws here. I promise I'm not, but they also do a chocolate-flavoured one. So at least you've got a bit something else flavoured with it. And I still need to try making my own fondant. I never do because I always run out of time. And it's just so easy to use it ready-made. Sorry, the dog is like rolling around on the floor over there making funny. Oh no, that's not what he's doing, is it? Oh, yes. I won't tell you what he's doing. Something that he shouldn't be. Yeah, so maybe I should do a video on making my own fondant one day, like marshmallow fondant, and then comparing it to the like ready packeted stuff so we can see what the difference is, if it is better to make your own or if it's not worth the time, like if you're going to get better results or not from the shop bought fondant. I know I'm lazy, I really am lazy using it, but when you are doing a lot of cakes, it's sometimes easier to buy it ready made than to make your own fondant. Just reading, Amanda doesn't like American buttercream, but she likes Italian meringue buttercream. So you know what? God, the dog's making disgusting noises, sorry. I'm not actually a huge fan of Italian buttercream either. I would still eat it. To be fair, I think I'm a proper sugar addict and most things with sugar in I will still eat. Yeah. It's a funny one. Do you know where the nicest cakes are? When I've been to teach in Oslo, and they made me a birthday cake once because it was my birthday once when I went over there. And they put like mousse between, so instead of buttercream, they had like the cake, and it's always really nice moist cake with layers of like chocolate mousse and blackcurrant mousse and all different. I don't actually like blackcurrant, but I didn't tell them that. But the cake was still really nice. But yeah, all the mousses between were just really nice. But then obviously you have to make sure that cake is definitely refrigerated. But I liked that. It was nice. Ooh, yes, okay, so we've got some people that might want to see me make homemade fondant. I might not make it very well, but we'll see. I think it's definitely something we can have a go at. So if you're using fondant and modelling chocolate, if you're using fondant, how will that come sticky? Can you tell me? Because I'm living in India. and you can't get fondant like that. Okay, so this is when it does get a little bit difficult for me, in that when you are in a country that doesn't have the shop bought stuff, and because I don't make my own, it's harder to say what's kind of best for you guys to use. Like, your temperature and humidity and stuff makes a big difference to how sticky your fondant is. I would say if you are somewhere really hot, then maybe, and like if you don't have air conditioning, the modelling chocolate might not necessarily help your fondant. But if you're using fondant or modelling chocolate, how that will become sticky, can you tell me? Often if you're in a hot country and it has become sticky, it's either because it's been too hot, sorry, the dog is having like a little run around the house. Sorry, are you coming up here? He's I don't think he's gonna. Also, I think a lot of the time a lot of the time in hot countries, people do have to keep the cakes in the fridge because it is so hot. And then when you remove it from the fridge, if it has got fondant on, that's when it gets really sticky because of the condensation that then forms on the fondant when you take it out the fridge. I'm not really sure if I've answered your question, so apologies if I haven't. It's like when I go teach in a different country for the first time, if things are very different to what they are over here, sometimes I can be really stuck, or things don't always go right for me because I don't have the same experience of using a different product somewhere else, if that makes sense. So I apologize that I'm not good with that. But if there is anybody in here, was it India? Was it India?
Yes.
Said? Yeah, if there's anybody else in India that has any advice for sticky fondant and stuff, please do pop it in there, so everybody can see it. And we, again, in the community group, that kind of thing, you can ask, no problem, and there'll be people in there that will know the answer for you. Apparently Liz Merrick from the Sugar Geek Show, her stuff's always really good, and she has really good recipes, has a good homemade fondant recipe, so maybe we could have a look at that. Yeah, definitely. Right, I am gonna go, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for the Facebook. No, it's not Facebook. I do this every time for the YouTube live. I always get mixed up with where we're online. Yeah, thank you, especially if some of you made it all the way to the end. I'm very proud if you made it all the way to the end and are still awake. Right, thank you very much, guys. I think this video just goes and stays on the YouTube.
We hope.
We'll see.
We'll be back though.
We'll see, and yeah, we'll sort out another one, whether it be a Q&A or maybe I make something in the next one. We'll see. And don't forget to join the community group if you haven't already. Right, have a good evening, guys, or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you. Bye.